Jeff.
Hey.
Do you know what the Wi-Fi password is in here?
I want to see what happens first.
I want to read a little bit about
I got an email from Mr. Art the other day. One that, and I love it, and also if I have to, if I need, like I gave him that letter. I just want your permission. I don't know what I have to say or anything, but I really like that whole.
Sorry, didn't think that you published it here. For the change field. But I'm sorry. No, I have to meet a friend downtown.
It's a little short timing right now. I've been paying attention.
Yeah, I decided I should show up and then talk about change. Yeah.
Gary, I'm gonna be a minute, I got something.
No, it's all right. I just want to get set up.
All right, and again, I appreciate you preparation.
Sure, I'm ready to go time.
We moved up to the house at last time, right in front of the, we have to have a meeting on this. Rare. I like it.
Try to get the most food that's in.
That's good. There was an elephant and I guess the one thing I could do
It's always tomorrow, right?
There was a Burlington or Willis.
The latest. They're both people.
That's going for that.
Dressed in black and daylight today.
Thank
When I was in Gardner,
We have
I
Sorry, I heard there was like. Yeah.
Traffic hits how you start in areas, we're trying to, with the water lines, especially, that's the middle of the road.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're getting, one species. How early the rain trail.
Oh, okay, so, okay. Yep, yeah, there have been so many snails now.
I know.
My wife is harvesting at least 300.
Yeah, I think
They're not at night.
They're not there.
Right.
You can't find them.
Unless they're locked in the day, they're not in for the night.
We could go up there quite a bit. We're trying to figure out, is this an index? And we're also looking for the worm.
Yeah.
I think it's just ripping the jeans. Because it's only one species.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well,
But you don't.
make a note so that I can get back trying to get it.
I'm not through this stuff.
Roger that. Cassie is report documented.
Yeah. There were some changes in design between the preliminary
You don't have to
places go
plug
up.
in, check
Yeah,
out,
that's kind of.
you don't have to write Keystone.
They want to take up the road. We had to do some design.
So Jerry, how just
I remember being in Norwich. I was graduating in 2009. I remember when I was in Norwich.
Jeff went down. I heard the good 30. Well, that's much better.
Yeah, it's in femur radio. They have the design kind of done, but they have to go through all the femur reviews. It takes quite a while. They have to look at all the
Can you carry a gun?
environmental aspects.
FEMA, you're on the list now. Sure.
It takes a little bit to I don't really have any catalogs or holding and if you could give me permission to share what you're trying to do. Looking at plans that were done in the late 50s, they have parts that we call from the old British.
Talk to our guy over at North Vermont. All right, we're running a little bit late. Thank you for your patience. We'll call this meeting to order.
John's gonna turn off the fan.
increase your comfort level. So thank you for coming. We've got folks online. There's a few of them. There's more that's shown up. We've got an audience that's got probably, what, 12 people in it, 1,000 here. Thank you for showing up. I'm gonna, the select board is here, of course. I appreciate them showing up. I'm gonna read something before we start our meeting, which is going to be related to, well, let me just read it. I have had time to think about the recent interaction our chief was exposed to and feel like something needs saying. Recently, our police chief has been the target of some real ugly racist attacks. The most recent attack had more F-bombs and the use of boy of any 2-minute conversation I have ever heard, spewed against anyone wide open in front of the municipal building. The witnesses were appalled. This kind of thing doesn't just hurt one person, it drags down the community, it drags down society. Our chief is a damn good person. He's fair, he's steady, he shows up for this community every day. You've seen him out and about, walking around town, talking to folks, stopping at local spots. That kind of visibility, that kind of connections with the people, that is the welcome style Northfield embraces. So to see folks go after him, not for anything he's done wrong, but just because of who he is, departs from the decency I believe Northfield embraces, and it is disgusting, cowardly, and it's telling that it's accepted. This isn't about politics, it's about what kind of people we are, what kind of town we want to live in, and I'll tell you right now, I didn't spend a career in the military to come home and see neighbors treat each other like this. Because there are no colors in a foxhole. We don't have to agree on everything, but basic decency shouldn't be up for debate. What we have to do to agree on is allowing hate speech to be, what we do have to agree on is allowing hate speech to be part of our community regardless of the reason, simply is poor form. If you've got a complaint about how something's being handled, speak up, but leave the hate out of it. To the chief, I want to say thank you for your integrity and honesty. I support you. Don't let the noise drown out the respect that so many of us have for you. And to the folks that believe a rant attacking a child, neighbor, public official is appropriate, be better. Have the conversation together, and attacking each other has no place in a great community. Thank you. Now we'll move on. Does the select board have anything they want to add to that?
I thank you for speaking out.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chuck.
Next guest was Gary LaRoche from the Vermont Transportation Project Manager, Main Street Bridge Replacement Project Update. Now, Gary's got a PowerPoint, we've got the hard copy of that. And he also previously gave us the actual specs. Tom, what do you call these?
Construction plans.
Construction plans. We've got them in. Wyatt, if any, I would be happy to give some. This is great, Kim, because these should be about the size of this desk. To see the construction plans as this is almost a waste of paper, but he's not going to give us all a set of business or construction plans. So please, Gary, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. On those sheets, yeah, absolutely. I'll just kind of give high-level overview. Thank you for everyone for coming tonight. I'm going to go over the Northfield Village BF 0241-58 project final plans. Here on the screen tonight with me, I have Alan Legacy, our V-Trans Utilities Coordinator, Mike Keaty, the V-Trans Project Contamination Engineer, and Nancy Avery, who is the V-Trans Work Zone Safety Engineer. And I'm Gary LaRoche, the V-Trans Project Manager for the Bridge Project. So running through, meeting overview tonight, I have just go over the project development process, where the project is, what the existing conditions are, a little project overview, characteristics of the design of the project, and kind of why we went, why we did what we did, how we're maintaining traffic Go at a high level, look at the contaminated soils, talk about the estimate, schedule, and some concurrent construction risk that we may be faced with next year. So the project, where we are in the project development process, we finished the final plans, specifications, and estimate for the project. So we're currently working on moving toward the contract plans design phase. So we're getting really close to being able to advertise the project for construction. After we advertise the project, we solicit for, advertising is essentially soliciting for bids. After the bids come in, it takes approximately a month to award the project, and then we would start the construction submittal process to start getting fabrication drawings for the bridge elements, or structural elements. Just real quick, some definition and terms that I'll be using throughout the presentation. So kind of starting at the top, the bridge railing, bridge deck treatment surface, the deck, the beams, bearing devices, what the overall, like the superstructure is, like the overarching bridge, or the culmination of those components. And the substructure is comprised of wing walls, bridge C stems, and footings. This is just a generic term slide, not necessarily what's being constructed here. A little bit more specific to this project, of course we have our beams and girders, approach slabs, approach roadways, existing abutments. On the screen it's dash line in brown for the existing structure. H-piles is the foundation, a deep foundation for the structure. And when I talk about drilling into earth and bedrock to install those piles, there's kind of the method that the project is designed to. The project, it's located right in the middle of Northfield Village, down by Domino's and the Dollar General, and it was formerly Gulf or Champlain Farms gas station. Here's another aerial photo of where the bridge is located, spanning over the Dog River, just upstream of the Cross Brothers Dam. Just running through the existing conditions of the bridge. The existing bridge is 3 spans, 111 feet long. It was constructed in 1926 and reconstructed and widened in 1958. The bridge has had a good life. The existing conditions, there's sidewalks on both sides, and a crosswalk on the north end of the bridge. I won't read through all the bridge existing conditions, but kind of overarching, the deck has a rating of fair, superstructure rating of 4, and a substructure rating of 5. I provided a link in the slide deck if anybody's interested in looking at the bridge inspection reports in the future. And that inspection was done this year in 2025. For a project overview, moving into the design of the project, we're at final plans. So I was kind of run over the site layout, the typical section, just some design characteristics, the utility location. There's going to be some bridge lighting, and how we're going to be maintaining traffic throughout the construction duration. As mentioned here, it's hard to really read anything from this layout, but the project limits or approach limits are from East Street to just north of the Dollar General driveway. The project will include new line striping for parking spaces, some bike lanes or buffered bike lanes. I'll get into the typical section. The typical section we discussed at the last meeting, we wanted to try to use, or better utilize some of the wide shoulder space on the bridge. So we elected to utilize a wider sidewalk. So we're gonna have 7-foot wide sidewalks opposed to the traditional 5.5-foot wide sidewalks on a bridge. And we're gonna have the traditional 11-foot lane, and we're gonna have a 5-foot bike lane with a 3-foot buffer between the travel lane and the bike lane. And because the project is so short, the road, the typical section kind of varies, you know, to kind of match up to that typical section of the bridge. The project is going to carry a similar profile to the vertical profile to what's existing today, so the bridge is not going to be raised or lowered and really at all. The bridge is proposing to remove the piers entirely from the channel. It's going to be a brand new single span bridge. The existing abutments are going to be only removed to elevation approximately 716 feet, which is about 10, or kind of tell in the image here, but it's about 8 feet below the bottom of the girder of the bridge, to try to minimize excavation and contaminated soil that that we're going to have to deal with for the project. So minimizing excavation and reuse of the soils is important here. So here's a closer up photo of the vertical profile showing the existing abutments being cut down, and the footings, the pier footings in the river are going to be removed. So just kind of, that slide was recapping kind of the same thing I just discussed. So the proposed bridge is going to be 140 feet, single span bridge. The girders are, the bridge superstructure, sorry, the girders are going to be approximately 62 inches deep, so a little over 5 feet deep. So they're pretty sizable numbers. The proposed bridge is going to increase the opening of what's existing today, so it's going to help prevent debris from clogging up at the bridge and causing water to back up. So the debris continue to flow downstream. Some design characteristics about the bridge railing. John sent me an inquiry about bridge railing, so I want to make sure I talked about it here. This bridge railing is designed to be a pedestrian railing as well as a crash-tested bridge railing. The sizes of the windows in the bridge railing are smaller than the 6-inch diameter sphere that is required by code. And also the rail is 3 feet 6 inches tall, also required by code. So on each corner of the bridge, you have a retaining wall that has to retain the fill of all the earth on the approach. And on different corners of the bridge, we're proposing to use different types of retaining walls. So on wing wall 1 and wing wall 4, which is the southwest wall and the northeast wall, we're proposing to use like a unit block retaining wall type wall. It looks like stone. It has some reinforced earth behind it. It's we have an approved wall list that contractors can select walls from, so that they're all designed by the fabricators. On the wing wall 2 and wing wall 3 corner, which is the southeast corner and the northwest corner, where the little green historic houses and the Champlain Farms station, we're proposing to install what they call soldier pile retaining walls. So on those 2 corners of the bridge, constructability is a major concern with the proximity of the wall, the excavation, and the foundation of the building adjacent to where the bridge is situated. Soldier pile walls are top-down excavation type wall, so you'll have very minimal size of excavation where that's well situated. And an added benefit of these walls, and it was a concern of the Wesco fuel station property owners, is to be able to maintain anything that's on its property in the future, as well as a benefit to the town of Northfield to be able to maintain the D&D Kenyon water service that goes through the Wesco parcel. So, meaning that you can dig behind these walls without compromising reinforced earth behind that wall. So you essentially wouldn't have to reconstruct that wall if you had to do maintenance behind it. Where if you had a reinforced earth wall, then if you tear it out with an excavator, you would have a bigger project to put that wall back in. I'll go over utility relocations real quick. We have some pretty extensive utility relocations on this project. Utility relocations are currently underway. I'm sure everybody's noticed out there, going through the bridge area. We're currently relocating a lot of the overhead lines underground. I listed the utility companies that are involved in that are going to be involved in the relocation, whether it's that are going from overhead to underground, and we're going to be, once they call it the duct bank, or the underground conduits are installed, the overhead utilities will start transitioning their lines into that new system, or that new duct bank. So just a little progress on the project. So we've recently executed the utility agreements with the town. We've issued the relocation orders for the overhead utilities to relocate on a schedule after the duct bank is in. So we have a schedule established for those. We're expecting our utility clearance of the project to come in the next couple of days. I had already mentioned the contractor installing the duct bank. And for all the soils that are excavated within the bridge project limit are also subject to the soil management requirements that the overall bridge project is required to follow. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. The bridge is going to have new bridge lighting. The existing bridge has a light situated on the four corners of the bridge, and the new lights on the bridge, there's going to be 6 proposed lights that are attached to the bridge on pedestals. The lights are going to look or be identical to what's currently in Depot Square, including the appurtenances that are on the poles. So we've received federal highway approval to use that proprietary material for the project. So getting into maintenance of traffic, we're proposing for the construction of the bridge, or the brunt of the construction of the bridge. We're looking to close the Bridge 60 for 12 weeks. We're planning to detour truck traffic on a regional detour that goes from Vermont 12 to 64 to Memorial Drive in Montpelier to 89 and back down Route 12 to get to end to end. So the end to end is 26 miles for the truck detour, and on this project we're also going to have a local detour that we had talked about in 2023. At that time, the board agreed to have the bike and pedestrian detour follow the local detour route. So just kind kind of starting from the high level with the finance and maintenance agreement for the project and what the project is responsible for. I think that would be, you know, just for clarification and everybody's understanding and comments and questions and so forth. So the bridge project is required to provide a temporary ADA accessible detour route since the existing bridge has pedestrian facilities and since it's on a Class 1 town highway. So in the areas, only in the areas ADA compliance isn't met with the existing facilities along that detour path is where we would add those channelizing devices or temporary surfaces, etc., to bring that designated route up to a ADA standard so folks are able to access the local detour. So there were some comments about areas of the pedestrian detour that navigated folks away from that detour, that pedestrian detour route. For example, there's a pedestrian bridge over on Water and Union. There's a pedestrian bridge over there. That any additional appurtenance that's directing pedestrians away from the path of travel would be non-participating in the responsibility of the town if they wanted to add that temporary say on the surface or what have you, or whatever the features are, you know, for that. And also the items that we're installing for the temporary detour are temporary nature only. So all the items except for, like, you know, any pavement ramps or painting or, you know, or crosswalk paint or anything like that. Anything that's not like permanent like that, it's going to be removed after the pedestrian detour comes out of, temporary pedestrian detour comes out of service. So it's all pretty much temporary work for the intent of the bridge closure period. So some concerns that were expressed regarding the safety in the pedestrian intersections. There was, so the local pedestrian detour sheets didn't include, you know, stop signs at Wall Street, Depot Street, and the stop sign at Wall Street and Central Street. The project wasn't proposing to change the intersection stop conditions for the intent of the project. So that's not something that we pursued, and I'll talk about that a little bit more on a future slide. So just for clarity on the sheets that the board and the pedestrian task force reviewed, the local detour sheets really only included the pedestrian items that were required for the project. It didn't include items like that would be used for the vehicle detour. So there's going to be additional signs that are going to be required for the site-specific traffic control plan that the contractor is going to have to submit to the agency in combination with the pedestrian detour plan. So we've included these sheets in the plan set for the intent of the contractor understanding what they're bidding on, and so they can bid competitively with other contractors and understand what, you know, what the intent and the requirements are. And we'll have a resident engineer on site every day, so if adjustments are needed or if we're seeing something that we don't see working quite the way we intended, you know, we can make adjustments in the field. It's not something that's, you know, set in stone. We're certainly flexible and can do that. As mentioned, the concerns with Wall Street, Water Street, and the stop condition, an agency not proposing to stop condition those locations, so the agency doesn't have jurisdiction on local routes. Because the way I understood the concern is it's already a safety concern in those areas. So if the town wanted a stop sign in those areas permanently, then the town would have to go through the ordinance process of creating an ordinance to put a stop sign there at these two particular locations. And if the town was able to do that before the project construction, then the project would perform all the necessary supplemental painting and things that accompany those stop signs. So we can kind of work hand in hand when it comes to those type of features, if that's something the town really wants to proceed with. There was a comment from the pedestrian task force regarding parking spaces on the south side of Depot Square. The project performed a turning analysis of the local traffic turning onto Wall Street from Vermont 12. I think I have it shown as Depot Square there, but it's, I believe, Wall Street. The project design had us temporarily modifying the island and temporarily removing the parallel parking to get to adequate space, but suggested by the pedestrian task force if it may create a safer or enhance safety if you also remove those diagonal parking spaces. And that's something that's purely up to the board to decide. We can do that. We can talk, certainly talk about that a little bit more after, but I wasn't sure if those are town-owned spaces or anything like that. So certainly warrants further discussion. On the local detour, there's concern mentioned that the detour route wasn't necessarily clearly labeled. Sometimes the plans can be difficult to read, and the way signs are pointing in different directions, and you have a lot of signs, it can be difficult. So what I did on this sheet, or on this slide here, is the green dashed lines are the intended path of travel of pedestrians through the project, and starting the detour through the Depot Square Wall Street area. So starting from the bridge, either side of the road, you can go down to the crosswalk, and then you can either cross the road to head south if you're on the East Street side, and progress up Wall Street. Moving on into another concern that was expressed regarding rapid flashing beacons or any signals that were along the temporary detour route. These type of signals, whether they're the RRFBs, it's kind of a tongue twister, or equivalent temporary signal, the VTrans guidelines for pedestrian crossing treatments only recommends in-street signs for configurations like that. So that's what we had recommended. And we can, on the next couple slides, I put a couple suggestions together of things you could do to enhance safety on those intersections. At the Wall Street, Water Street intersection, we could potentially put a double yellow line on the center line to try to help direct that traffic or keep flow of that detour traffic. We could, because there's some interblock connectivity of Wall Street. I think it's Pleasant Street that goes around the back side of that. You could potentially close this end of Wall Street for the duration, and that would prevent the cars from wanting to go straight through that intersection. So those are a couple things to ponder, I suppose. And again, the green line is the path of travel that we're expecting pedestrians to travel. Over on the Water Street, Union Street intersection. We could do kind of a similar situation. We could strike a center line through there to help direct traffic through. However, there's a stop sign or a stop condition on one end and not the other end of Water Street when they're going, south. So it kind of lends the question whether the town wanted to follow through with ordinances or not to change those conditions. And also, the project is going to, in the blue square, we're going to refresh the painting along the pedestrian detour route to make sure it's obvious what the pedestrian detour route is and, where folks should be traveling along that route. The pedestrian detour route we have along the route on Wall Street and Water Street. There's two locations where it crosses the New England Central Railroad. So I was doing some research on the railroad seal, the pavement seals that are there. I was informed that those seals are ADA compliant. The project was proposing to use a portion of the existing width of the roadway, so we weren't adding any additional width to the roadway, but only channelizing devices to get up to the railroad tracks at both locations. In my exchange or response to John, I provided some suggestions on process and what the board could do to progress a permanent crossing in those locations. Moving on into some existing conditions of the project and for soil contamination. So around this project site, early on, our project contamination engineer, they would look at the site, they would say, okay, we have soils around or near this project that have contamination, so we have suspicion that there's contamination in the roadway. So we had to do testing within the roadway to determine whether there was contamination present or not, in addition to the information that we were able to utilize from the Department of Environmental Conservation for those properties that's all publicly facing. So just kind of jumping back to the finance and maintenance agreement for the project, the town is responsible for 100% of the disposal of contaminated soils, or if they need to be disposed of. I'll get into kind of what the process is and understanding that a little bit further. So we have to, for the project, the Vermont DEC has what they call the I rule. Defines what contaminated soils are, and Mike Key online afterwards, if you need, you can describe what those different levels of contamination are, but I'm not fluent myself, so I won't go any further with that. So in the current estimate for the project, I'll start out. So the project requires a soil management plan because of the contaminated soils, so we have to be able to manage those soils. You have a management plan that has to be approved by the Department of Environmental Conservation, for the project. And for the estimating the project, we estimated, kind of worst case scenario, $500,000 for disposal of soils, and that's assuming that every grain of soil that's pulled out of the ground would have to be disposed of. So the agency for the project, we have to build in some number. So a little bit more about that process. So there's, on this project, we have petroleum contaminated soils, which during the design of the project, we quantified what we anticipate to encounter for those petroleum contaminated soils. We filled out applications on behalf of the town for reimbursement of those costs to dispose of those petroleum contaminated soils. So generally, depending on the project, and because it's very complicated, I wanted to try to make it streamlined as I could for the town and having to manage these things. So under the project, that's why we filled out these applications. So the money for the disposal of petroleum contaminated soils would come out of the project, and then DEC through the Petroleum Cleanup Fund would reimburse the project. So the town doesn't have to be the middle person and be like, oh, well, we have to reimburse the agency, for that amount, and then have to wait on the tail end to get your money back from DEC. So I figured that would be a lot more beneficial for the town. So generally how it works with recent projects, similar to what you're seeing this year. I don't know if any of you have been up to the sand pit where we're managing soils right now, or the utility relocation work. But after we're done excavating a certain area of soils for the project, and we know that all the soils from that area are there, we can test that pile and say, okay, this pile can be characterized into like one of these levels of contamination, whether it's non-regulated, urban, background, or development soils, are kind of synonymous terms, or higher than that. And then, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. So just kind of, again, one of those high-level overviews. The project has areas broke up for, the areas specific that are going to be excavated for the project, and you have all these piles that are designated to try to minimize the amount of volume that would have to be disposed of. So you're trying to separate soils that are outside of limits of where we kind of expect petroleum, and areas that, in the areas that do have like the purple shading, staying above certain elevations with that excavation, so you don't have, so ideally not encountering anything above a certain elevation, so you can separate that off the top and put it in that designated pile. So it's all intended to try to minimize waste or the cost to get rid of it. And I talked about this a little bit already. The project is managing all the soils for the utility relocation within the bridge project limits between East Street and Dollar General at this soil management location up on behind the cemetery. Here's just kind of a little diagram that we have, just identifying what the area is going to look like, and there's going to be piles of soil there. It's all going to be contained and covered in plastic and very well managed. Hutchins has been doing an excellent job this year doing that soil management. So this slide here, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're seeing so far. So we finished excavating in this, they call it the decision unit, or DU-A-US. So this particular area that I had circled a square on the A. And the testing came back where it's under this urban limit, so the town's able to reuse that soil elsewhere in that urban background area. That's defined by the A&R Atlas, so the town can reuse that soil elsewhere, and as approved by DEC, of course. So then, the town doesn't have to pay to get rid of it. So it's like, okay, you can reuse it elsewhere, and just what happens from there is I'm not 100% sure, but it's reused within that area ideally. So getting a little bit into the project funding and the split for the project. So the town share for this project is 5% because the town elected to close the bridge for the 12 weeks. If the bridge wasn't closed or another temporary bridge was used, it would have been 10%. So the town's saving 15% off what it would cost otherwise for the town share. So good news there.
The town is saving how much percent did you say?
So the overall project cost, a typical project where you would have to put a temporary bridge in or divert traffic over on like a temporary roadway adjacent to the existing structure, a town would be required to have a 10% share of the total project cost.
Right, we're not doing that.
Not doing that.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're closing the bridge and to able to reduce the town share to 5%. So the town only has a 5% share in the total project cost.
I heard
Aside-
15% in there.
50% reduction.
Oh, 50% reduction, thank you.
Yeah, apologies if I
It's not your
said the
problem.
wrong thing. So the final PS&E, the total cost estimate for the project, preliminary engineering was 1.9 million. The construction engineering and contingency is 11.05 million. And the soil management estimate was 500,000 of that total of 13,455. I communicated in the memo over to Jeff. So the project, we've only expended $1.66 million to date on the engineering of the project. And the town's share of the preliminary engineering estimate is $95,000. The town share of the construction estimate is $522,000 and change. And the soil, of course, is 100% the town. But as I kind of went through, it's not going to be that, but we have to budget for that for the project and planning worst case scenario. And like the petroleum cleanup fund and all those numbers can be subtracted from that elsewhere. So just communicating what the previous estimate was to this one. So the engineering went up quite a bit. I can explain a little bit more about that. Construction costs went up a little over $3 million. And the soil disposal, we didn't have an accurate estimate of preliminary design, so that's why I show the difference of that there. So the overall difference in the project cost was 50.9%. So for a little bit of explanation on the preliminary engineering of the project, so when this initial estimate for the project went out, it followed what the scoping estimates were. Generally, how the agency estimates early on in a project's design is it's assumed that we're designing this project internally, but that wasn't the case. We have a consultant designer designing the project, so consultants are more expensive than internal design. Also, we had to do some additional design as a result of the Cross Brothers Dam project to assure that the bridge project wasn't negatively impacted by the removal of the dam. So kind of following that, getting into the construction estimate, starting with the Cross Brothers Dam removal. So when we were looking at how that dam removal impacted the design of the project. It changed the scour conditions of the bridge. So essentially, the scour condition went down a couple feet. So you're during this design storm event, you're scouring to bedrock. So the bridge has to, of course, be able to freestand at, when all the soil is washed away around it, is how the project's designed. So being that the piles have to freestand, a higher or a taller a difference in elevation, it creates, you have to have bigger, of course, longer piles, bigger piles, so it creates additional costs there. And some of the other things that cause the construction estimate increase over the past several years, the project or estimates have increased on construction projects, pretty dramatically due to inflation. Inflation's been pretty unpredictable over the past several years, so every estimate that we've been providing, towns and municipalities, has been always current day estimates and not projected estimates to the future, based on what we were getting for bid prices on projects that have gone offshore recently. Another item during the preliminary plans, that wasn't included in the estimate was the water line on the bridge that has to be replaced. At that time, Dufresne Group didn't have information to the agency for the design of that, so we didn't have a sense of what that was going to cost. So that's now included in the overall estimate. Back to the soldier pile walls. Those walls are a little bit more expensive than the other type of wall that I had mentioned, that are designed by the fabricators, due to the fact that the piles are required to be drilled in the bedrock, similar to the bridge foundation. So those walls are going to be able to withstand the scour similar to the bridge. So now I'm kind of moving into the project schedule. So we have, the environmental permits are cleared for the project. We have all of our permits. We have all the right-of-way for the project. There's some tricky negotiations through along the road, but we've got it cleared. Utilities are clearing this week.
What does that mean, Gary?
Sorry.
What does that mean?
Which part?
Clearing the utilities.
A clearance, so you have to have, before you can advertise a project, you have to show the Federal Highway Administration and under a stewardship and oversight agreement where we have to self-regulate these things. So when you have to document all these clearances, so it's saying, those clearances are saying, okay, we have all of our permits that are required to build the project, and that's, it's put in the files so you don't, if you're, sorry, so that, clearances are needed for every kind of aspect of the design of the project.
So the federal government does that, or the local utility?
So V-Trans does the clearances under our stewardship and oversight agreement for the file, and if we're audited, we have to show Federal Highway that we had all of our permits and we had all of our utilities out of the way, and because they have an 80% share in every project, or most all projects that we construct.
Thank you.
Yep. And then, so contract plans, we're also moving toward contract plans later this week, if there's no substantial revisions required. I received the submittal yesterday from the consultant, so I've been going through a lot of the follow-up comment responses and things to make sure that all the design and everything is buttoned up and together. Not just me, but my internal team. we're planning to advertise the project for construction in September 10th, 2025, so in a short month or so. We're looking to solicit this for construction, and we're looking to start construction April 1st of 2026. So just kind of I want to give folks a sense of like what the construction schedule looks like for next year. And I won't read through all this, but there are activities prior to the bridge closure period that the contractor is going to be allowed to do. So it assures that during that closure period, they're able to construct the entire bridge and have it open in time for Labor Day. So we can get it open by the 28th of August. So, a few of the items they can do prior is we've got permits to access the channel a little bit early. We can drill piles ahead of time under lane closures. Finish up our utility relocations that aren't possible this year. Work on installing those soldier pile walls on the southeast and northwest corners of the bridge. During the closure, that's when so the closure is scheduled right now from June 1st to August 28th, 2026. During the closure, the bridge is, these are what the expectations of the contractor are going to be to open the bridge and then restore traffic back the way it was. Post bridge closure period is August 29th to October 15th. And October 15th is the project completion date. I wanted to bring up kind of the risks of concurrent construction. So it was brought to my attention that the dam removal project may be occurring next year as well. I touched base with Roy Schiff from SLR Engineering. I guess the project is currently still under FEMA review. FEMA does all the environmental reviews for those projects, so it can take quite a duration, but I just wanted to communicate the risk of both of these projects occurring at the same time because they share a lot of the same project limits for access to to the river. So the access that the Dollar General is providing the town is within the project limits of the bridge on the northeast corner. So there's certainly risk there, and we want to make sure that the bridge closure only remains to be the 12 weeks. And so if contractors are conflicting with each other in operations, then it could cause the contractors to be delayed, and that results in contractor claims requesting additional compensation, whether it's from this project or another project, and the town would be at disadvantage. So I wanted to make sure to communicate that risk to the board. Only an hour before I got here, I received a phone call from our program manager, and due to budget and revenue forecasts, there's possibility of revenue downgrades, is what they're saying. So what that means is the project at this late hour may need to be pushed because there's no money to build it. I only heard this an hour ago, so I don't know a lot more than that at this time. So as soon as I get more information, I'll certainly communicate to the town. But until I hear otherwise, I am proceeding as if we are getting this project advertised for construction next month. So until I hear otherwise, we're pushing forward. And that is concludes my presentation. I hope everybody enjoyed.
This is the best presentation of a nightmare I could imagine.
I tried.
You did a really good job. I'd like to open up the discussion to the select board. Dave?
He's answered my one question so far, I'm all set.
All right.
I guess I'm just astonished that it's considered ADA accessible, the conditions of the railroad tracks. Having just walked across it with a really good stroller that had like struts and things, and having to lift the wheel to get over, I'm just surprised that's really considered ADA. You don't have to respond to that, but
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, I'm frustrated when accessible isn't really accessible, so. And I know that's such a small section, and we are working towards a permanent solution on Wall Street, but everything is slow. But I just think that that is already an obstacle for people that have any kind of wheels to get across. I don't see it being a great, it won't be great during the detour either. But we have this railroad that goes through our town. There isn't another way to go around and avoid the railroad. So it's something we have to deal with. A question is, I thought I recalled that there was some level of importance of the dam being removed prior to the bridge being constructed. Is that in my mind, or was that part of a conversation?
So, the way the bridge project's permitted, it's permitted based on the conditions that the dam project removal is gonna leave the stream. It can happen in either order, but it's permitted for that future condition when the dam is removed.
Okay, so if the dam has to come out after the bridge, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not.
The simultaneous is probably worse.
Very much a challenge.
Okay. My last thing is also not a question, just a statement of frustration, which is probably not your fault at all, but for the town to try to budget for projects like these, and then through no fault of our own, they get delayed, and then our taxpayers are on the hook for significantly higher costs than what we've been preparing for. And I just don't know if you have any thoughts on what could be improved so that if this is just like the normal way that things happen, that towns could be given a more realistic.
So there's been,
estimate.
sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
So there's been emphasis a lot from federal highway to make sure in the future, estimates, at preliminary and final are a lot closer together.
Yeah.
So we're working on refining our, the design process, such that, it tries to accomplish that key performance indicator that we're working toward.
And if it gets pushed again,
Right.
the costs
and then
could likely continue to rise.
Yep, because inflation, year to year, we're projecting out to 2030 now to be 5% every year inflation. So as part of that key performance indicator, we're now working toward projecting our estimates of the future so towns and things have better understanding. But when we were, the contracting climate we were in, the past several years with COVID and natural disasters, it was challenging to estimate projects because fluctuations in unit prices went up quite a lot, especially in steel.
Yeah.
It went from like $2 a pound to upwards of $7.
So are the differences that we're seeing here on this particular project in Northfield, is this common for other projects, similar projects right now?
I had a
Or the
project
discrepancy?
just finish up in Grafton. It was kind of a similar situation where, every, but that one was kind of more of a perfect storm because when it was scoped, and designed, we were, kind of going through COVID, and every estimate that you received was dramatically higher, and so the town had a lot of concerns, of course, and, because the estimate went up so much, the town had to, go and get bonds, pay for the project. I've worked with, Town of Grafton pretty extensively to provide them financial updates, spending profiles, to try to help them budget their spending or what they're gonna have to spend on the project from year to year.
Yeah.
And I could do the same here, if that's helpful.
I feel like probably whatever help we can get, because we're facing a shortfall now in what we were budgeting based on the estimates, and if it gets pushed again, it's gonna be a challenge for us, so I'll let everybody else
It is
have a chance.
already a challenge.
Yes.
The challenge will get even greater.
Yeah.
Is that it? John?
Well, thank you for your response to the letter that I sent.
Absolutely.
And, I was curious about this ordinance. It seems like you have a stop sign at Depot Square and Wall Street.
Yep.
But that doesn't require an ordinance. But putting a stop sign on Wall Street and Water Street requires an ordinance. So I can't figure out what the difference is.
So, on Wall Street in that location, you're changing the traffic condition. So I believe it's one direction currently. So when you go around Depot Square, it's one direction coming back to Vermont 12, right?
Correct.
So because you now have two direction traffic through there, it creates a warrant to have a stop condition at those two locations for safety temporarily. So those stop signs will go back to yields once that temporary detour is removed, where that's different from Wall Street and Water Street and Union Street is we're not changing the through traveling condition of that area. And the way that I understood your letter, it was kind of a broader issue for the town, and you would like, more of a permanent situation there than a temporary one. So I just didn't want it to be, confused or misconstrued or whatnot, that, the stop signs would stay there if the board wanted them there temporarily.
Okay.
So, does that make sense?
I haven't looked at all the references that you put
Sure.
in here, and I'll do that later, but thank you again for
Absolutely.
addressing my concerns.
Is that it, John?
Yeah, that's it for now.
Aye. Mary?
I'm good. I mean, you have no crystal ball.
There's that. Thanks for being here, John. You did a really good job, and it's a tough discussion to have, to say, you really don't know what's gonna happen when it comes to money, which is not the way I run my business. But you have your hands full because you've got a situation in federal government that's horrid. I have a suggestion now. If the federal government, if FEMA would talk to the transportation folks and say, while you've got your equipment on that bridge, why don't you go down and remove that dam? That would save everybody a lot of money, and you've got your equipment in place. I would be willing to bet that's not gonna happen. How does Amtrak get notified that we're going to increase traffic going over their property? First off, what is the projected traffic census load profile that we're going to experience on roads that normally have a couple cars a minute?
So the ADT on main line on Vermont 12 right now, per the traffic counts, is 4,200 cars a day. The percent truck traffic is approximately 5.5%, so minus 5.5% of 4,200 is your average daily traffic flow. I believe the daily hourly volume was roughly 550-ish, for this, for mainline. So I would assume that, if you have that volume going through the main line, then you would have that volume detoured on that local route.
So with that added traffic going across where they wouldn't normally be crossing train tracks, now they're going to be crossing train tracks. What are we doing to make sure that Amtrak understands that we've got a change of traffic patterns in Northfield for 3 or 4 months?
Not just Amtrak, all railroads.
Right, thank you, all railroads, because you have freight trains. You got two Amtrak's, and how many freight trains?
At least 2.
To my understanding, as part of the temporary detour route, we have, there's, part of the temporary detour route, there's a right of entry agreement that's required with New England Central Railroad, and they're the controlling operating railroad along that route. So we have to inform them of pretty much every activity that we're doing for the project that's going to impact the railroad.
Okay.
So it's kind of the long and short of.
So you're gonna tell.
The right of entry agreement is going to be acquired at the start of construction. So yes.
Good, I'm glad it's here.
Yep. Thank you.
So this is not a question for you, but when is laundromat gonna be raised along Water Wall?
The asbestos is doing in a week and a half, and last week of August or first week of September.
So before this project, that's not gonna be an issue?
Right.
Just wanna check.
No, good question. Great question.
I'm not going to entertain any questions. It's now 8 o'clock. We've been doing this for a little bit longer than an hour. We're going to let our guest, Gary, pack up and go home as we continue on.
Charlie, I have one question for Gary related
Oh,
to
please,
stop
please do.
signs or blinking lights. You said it would be the municipality's responsibility to install those stop signs that are not impactful on Water Street.
Yes, if the town wants to move forward with an ordinance for permanent stop signs, then.
How about during construction at the Union and Water Street intersection, using the blinking light to regulate we have 3 directions of traffic coming in there.
I'd like to call on Nancy Avery, see if she can help field this question. Nancy?
Could you please repeat the question?
The question is, at the intersection of Union and Water Street and, what's the 3rd street? Pearl Street. My question is, can we install during construction a temporary signal?
There wasn't any warrants that actually have been analyzed for that with the traffic count. So I
Well,
would say,
we have some concerned citizens that have brought to our attention way back when Gary was first here, again, in his most recent visit, and then also about a few weeks ago. So my question really is, if we can install stop signs, can we install signals?
the town is the governing body. So if that's something that the town wants to pursue with the appropriate warrants met for signal installation, then yes, they could do that.
I think the concern, if I understand it correctly, is that because of the increased traffic just during this project, that the way the traffic flows right now with the one direction not having a stop sign could be dangerous because of the increased traffic. It's kind of okay-ish right now. Perhaps, there could be conversations about that, but the real concern is because of the impact of the significant number of increased cars and people turning in different directions there, especially that one, I think, even more than the Wall Street one. That intersection is a concern. I think a temporary stop sign could work and might be less expensive than a signal, but I think what we're talking about is a temporary solution, not a permanent one. Perhaps the town, if that's not on the table, then we understand that we can pursue our own permanent.
Because the other factor that's in this is pedestrian traffic. That's a major pedestrian route.
And the pedestrian detour goes through there
Yep.
as well as the traffic detour.
And it's kids.
And it's kids on both ends of the construction season as projected right now.
I hate to put a fly in the ointment this late in the process, but.
If the town is okay with the stop sign coming out post-construction, I don't have a problem with that, it is.
Sounds to me like it's up to us.
Yeah, okay.
That's what
I just wanted to hear from you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So what's the enforcement for tractor trailers that ignore? We're gonna have a situation like they have up in Stowe. We're gonna, what do we do for the tractor trailer that comes down and tries to navigate down street?
Other towns, they have like the oversized permits. I don't know if the Northfield has, permitting, folks can get permitted with the town to travel those routes, and folks that travel those routes that are not permitted, they can be ticketed by the town.
Jeff, I saw you shaking your head, yes. So we do have that policy? And we
Yeah, we-
are issuing permits?
Yes.
That is for the back roads.
Well, you can also for bridges and town roads.
We're gonna have to evaluate that a little closer, whether there is an enforcement tool that can generate $300,000.
Charlie, I have a bridge in Brooklyn, I'd like to sell.
So thanks. Did this conversation spark any more conversation?
No, I know that was a hot topic and I wanted to get it out there.
Well, the highway committee will meet and legally and have a discussion how we want to address that sometime.
Okay.
An ordinance takes about 2 months. If you don't do an ordinance and you put up a stop sign, I don't know about the liability, but I know you can't write a ticket. Liability, if you don't have I don't know so we may end up going down that path. That's a question. If we put a temporary stop sign for the project duration, do we have to have an ordinance for it to be in effect? I presume you do, which is not a big deal. We've got an ordinance
Plenty of
already.
time.
We can just add on to it, which is probably the thing to do. But if we're gonna go with a traffic change pattern and form of putting a stop sign, temporary stop sign down, we need to know, the highway committee would like to know what that means liability wise and law enforcement wise. Sir?
I just got a question, make a comment. Given the ADTV numbers you said, and the traffic flow, my calculation is, and I'm just thinking, I'm coming off the pedestrian bridge, there's gonna be a car every 6 to 20 seconds going through there.
All right,
Throw
so,
that out there in terms of how we're thinking about what kind of control we need there.
right.
Stop signs.
That's the reason I asked the question about the census or
Yeah.
the traffic flow, whatever the right term is,
Right.
to get an idea, because I know, what it is today, and I can anticipate what it's gonna be tomorrow, and the tractor trailers that don't know how to read, because it's all on GPS. If you wanna get to Riverton you're gonna come down 64, and then you're gonna turn right, and you're gonna have a mess, and it's already on GPS, and as Stowe is very familiar with, I think they even have a lottery for the first round, we should have a lottery for the first round. Thank you very much.
That should cover the 300,000.
Is there any other questions from the selectmen? Thank you. All right, we'll give you a minute to back up here, and we're gonna continue on with the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting for the 22nd of April? Is there
Hold on, and we just,
We're done meeting over here.
Mary,
Oh, we just talked about
made the motion to approve the minutes and John seconded it. Right?
Is there any discussion about the minutes for the 22nd?
No discussion. You wanna go this one?
So moved by Mary, seconded by John.
Hearing no discussion about the minutes for the 22nd, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving the minutes of 22nd July?
Hold it, I do have a question.
Stand by.
So, Article 8, number A, I think better representation to what my question was. Is the paving going to occur south of Main Street Bridge, Central Street from curb to curb?
Does it make sense
Everyone online,
in
please
the
mute.
midst of raffle, prepping for raffle
Mute
and
them.
everything to not have an
Thank you. They got it.
So, better representation of the question that I asked the manager was, is the paving gonna occur from curb to curb, from south of the bridge to Central Street? I'd rather see that worded that way, and the answer was, yes, it was.
So point of clarification, so, there is, I went back, I looked at the plans before, and so from Central Street past south, it will be, and then from the bridge all the way up to Prospect, it will be. But there is a section in between that I did find out, and I apologize. So what I saw in the plans was all the paving up top and down below, and I went and double checked. So there is a section in the middle that they're gonna patch pave, but I'm looking at using some town dollars.
Yeah, exactly, we can't have it.
Yeah, I know, and I looked at the plans and I saw
Well,
curb to curb down below. and
so
was
I
gonna-
would prefer to have that reflected in the minutes.
Yeah, and I was gonna correct that in my report to say, again, from central, well past, I don't know, south, I think.
I understand what you're saying around south of the bridge.
Yeah.
I understand that totally.
Yeah.
So the takeaway
Is that paving is gonna occur from curb to curb,
right, Main Street all the way to Central.
approximately south of the bridge to Central Street.
Thank you.
Is that correct?
Well, again, there's a section right now in the middle.
We're going to find the money
Yeah,
to
oh,
do the
absolutely, yes.
paving.
Yeah.
So we are going to do
Yes,
the
yeah.
paving, correct, Mr.
Yes,
Manager?
yes.
Thank you.
So the answer is yes, it will be
Thank you.
paved curb to curb.
So if you just, I'd like to have that better reflected in the minutes, thank you. I'm all set, Charlie.
Okay, so we're authorizing paving expenditures. We're giving direction to the manager, we're correcting the minutes and we're giving direction to the manager that says we're gonna have, court starter, or we're gonna have.
Do you want a project that paid?
No, I don't, I just wanna make sure.
No, I'm not
that
authorizing
there's no
anything.
misunderstanding that
But
from.
Mr. Manager
Yeah.
has it in his ability to
Yeah.
do the paving.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes of 22nd of July?
indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any objections or abstentions? Minutes of 22nd of July have been approved. Approve the warrant. Do I have a motion to approve warrant 0326, 03-26, 03-26A through F for a total of $516,840.27?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion about warrant 326?
I have no questions.
You have no questions?
I was just curious about on page 32, the equipment rebuilds at the plant, what they were, and if you could just tell us about it.
Yeah, so unfortunately at the sewer plant, there was an older motor, almost 20 years old that burnt out and unfortunately needed to be replaced. Fortunately, there's plenty of funds in the rebuild to do that, so Jim came to me and I said, get some prices, and he did, and they made it happen.
So was it
should
a
be-
surprise or anticipated that it was, a surprise or was it anticipated?
It was a surprise.
Okay.
And they,
How old was the part, was it, like, did it,
It came from the sewer plant rebuild, so that's 2004, 2005, 20 years.
and it was so large, they had to rent a crane to.
yeah, I saw that.
I know Jim came up cheap sheet, Jeff, I got this problem. I said, well, it's 20 years old, plus we got
Let's
the.
just talk about the warrant. Are there any other discussions about the warrant?
No, that's my only question.
I don't think, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't need to hear about the crane discussion and all that stuff. All in favor of, there's no other discussion, all in favor for approving warrant.
Did John have this?
Sorry, John, did you have any questions?
Oh, sorry.
I thought I heard. Hearing no discussion about, I'll call the question for warrant 3-26, 3-26A through F for a total of $516,840.27. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Warrant has been approved. Next one is the bi-weekly payroll through July 20th, 2025, and receipt of the bi-weekly payroll through August 3, 2025. The first one is $120,488.22. The second one is $115,088.80. Do I have a motion to approve both?
So
To
moved.
receive both?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of receiving the payroll, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the Cheney Farm post-construction parking and accessibility. We are closing in on the end of the water project. We have received word from the town forest stewardship committee and the conservation committee that is indicating they do not want to see any parking lot development there. Do we have, does anybody want to make a motion to approve, or are we gonna take action on it, or what do we want to do?
If we can discuss without action, that I think would be great, but if we need a motion in order to have discussion, then.
Let's have a discussion, and if I break the open meeting law, I know I'm good to go with that. Let's have a discussion. So, Dave,
Yes, what would you like to?
like I said, where do you wanna go with this? We have we're gonna be the final decision on what happens up at the Cheney Farm. The contractors are gonna move out, they're gonna restore the highway that they built. I hope they're going to restore it to meet the contour of the land that was disturbed for the purpose of that highway. So after it's seeded, it's got the natural contour. What we're looking at is, do we want to, now that's done, we're not gonna mess with that big platform where they're parking equipment and materials, that's not our plan. What we're talking about is building a parking place up on top of the, where the reservoir is down installed, in Cheney Field.
This is a tough one,
It is.
because accessibility is a key. And it's a town treasure that should be able to be accessed for everyone. But once we start down this path, especially where the parking lot is now, because I had someone take a drone picture of it for me, I would be very apprehensive.
Where the parking lot is currently?
Where the construction
Is,
is
right.
currently.
Gotcha.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
My preferred option is that we allow people to park on Byam and figure out how they can turn around without disturbing the people who live there. Because that's a road, they're gated out, there's no sharp turn, and then people are at much closer to the elevation of the trail and the fields and the town forest. Part of why that hasn't happened is because of all the difficulties associated with that. And I don't know how the landowners feel, if they dislike people parking there more than they would dislike people in the field. I don't know. I see our current decision, not necessarily like we have to solve all of the questions about challenges with the parking because it is gated. So unless we open those gates and tell people they can park up there, no one can park up there. So right now we have a decision that has a time pressure to it, that the contractor, when they're done, is gonna take that away unless we say not to take it away.
Yeah.
And it is unlikely, in my mind, that we would ever have the funds or the ability or the desire to create that. The only reason we're discussing it is because it's already been done and the cost is already part of this project. And I think there's the design that D&K made of a fancy turnaround with a retaining wall on Byam just seems like total pie in the sky, not reality, never gonna happen. So I don't really want people parking in Cheney, but I also really strongly feel that accessibility to our town forest is something that we have to do somehow. And if somebody can tell me some other way, and if there is a way to let people park, I mean, one thing about parking on Byam is it's tight. You can't put very many cars there anyway, but the turnaround piece is the most complicated in my mind. It's hard to turn around there. And I know like some of the comments seem to be like thinking about accessibility only in terms of like someone who's a wheelchair user or something, but there's a lot of different types of accessibility and it has to do with age and, you know.
That's why I had
It's
a
not up
drone
to-
fly over.
Right. I know I've seen people up there with canes and I want those people to be able to experience the beauty of that field too. And so I really, you know, saying that the downtown parking is sufficient, that just doesn't, it just doesn't feel true to me. And so I don't know, I'm
How
open,
about access to, from Norwich's property? 'Cause that was the other viable.
not to the town forest,
Not
it's
to the
not
town
any,
forest.
it's not a lot easier, it's more
Okay.
pleasant than walking up from downtown.
All right,
But it's not more accessible for somebody who maybe can manage, you know, a shorter walk. And
Got it.
depending on what your plan is for a hike, it makes more sense. And I know one of the outcomes of the town forest access study was that there was a desire for multiple small parking lots. Nowhere having like a big parking area, but like people like to access from Kingston, people like to access from Turkey Hill. Slade Ave is not really a complete trail right now, so that access isn't fully there. But that's worked out, and I don't know, none of those landowners are here tonight. That's worked out fairly well, but a couple cars just parked there. The difference between that situation and Byam, one of the differences is we need to be able to maintain the road being clear so that emergency services could get through there, Norwich could get through there, or the water department could get through there. So we can't block the gate. On Slate, it's okay to block the gate because vehicles can't get through there, but I don't know, I'm glad that the different parties have been talking with different perspectives, and I hope that we could find something that, there's gotta be something that's like holding conservation in mind, but also really allowing our community the access to this amazing resource that
That's
we
why I
have.
said it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's super tough. That's all for now.
Thank you, Lydia. John?
Well, moving the gate will create I can't say it. The road to Cheney Field is terrible. It's one lane wide, and I don't know how you can tell whether or not somebody is coming down versus coming up. Of course, there's always the dictum that uphill traffic has the right of way. But I can't see that road being used for vehicles, other than the construction people that are up there, and they've made a loop to the parking area and so on, so. That's it. I don't think parking up there is appropriate.
Thank you, John. Mary?
Yeah, this is hard, and I've heard a lot of things from a lot of different people. And, first of all, I think it would be helpful to know what needs to be decided right now. What needs to be decided right now?
Are we going to tell the contractors when they finish their project up there to leave a place that could be, that is a parking lot? It's not gonna be paved, it'll probably have the same material that the road is built on. I'm sure because of what I've seen up there so far, the drainage will be appropriate, and it will be a spot that they are going to ask us the same question, what do you want us to do? So do you want a place that you can land a 747? I know the answer to that. Do you want a place that you can land an emergency helicopter, or that you can park 10 cars at? I don't know what the census of the trails are, but that's what we're at. Or do you, and if you were to go down that path, as these guys mobilize out, and they're gone, and they've built us a nice little parking place, there's nothing that says we have to let the cars go up there and park.
Right.
We can figure that at a later day. We can let the residents go up there and play with our remote control planes. I don't know, but it's just, is this going to end up being a missed opportunity that somebody with the equipment can flatten out a portion of the field that will be according to if postage stamp on that field. It will be a flat place that's accessible by the existing road, and if we want to do something with it later on, we can. That is what.
But John says that the road to get there from Byam Street, Byam Hill, what do you call that, Byam Road?
Yeah.
Byam Road, to get to this place is not passable.
It's passable for,
One vehicle.
and yeah, and I don't know, we can go measure it. A lot of roads to trails are pretty narrow, and you have to wait
It's like the
for
class
the
4
other
highway.
person. Yeah.
I would not take
That
Cassie's,
sharp turn is,
I would not take Cassie's car up there. I have no problem taking my Jeep. That's not my point. If we're going to do something later, if we want to make it that they build a parking place for a community decided parking place for 6 cars or 10 cars, that's one thing. Then we can control the parking if we want to. And then we can tell them, on your way out, please improve the path for the highway. Or we just say, the neighbors don't want it, and the end of the story. Because we're gonna have to make that decision sometime. So, the board has, and by answering your question, I basically put my input in. Now,
So the NU land is not an option here
For what?
as an access for,
The quarry or where?
let's say, next year, people want to enjoy Cheney Field. They have some limited mobility. So could they access that enjoyment by going through Norwich's land?
it's really,
I mean, you
It's
could
really
park at
whether
the
there's-
Green Mountain Clinic and it's about, I don't know, 7/10 of a mile, maybe, I mean, depends on where in the field you're going to.
Yeah, and
it's
that's not a viable option for an older person. Before I had my pacemaker, I tried that. I did not make it. I came back down.
I mean, we used to shuttle our
I don't wanna,
two-year-olds
I don't
up
wanna.
too, 'cause-
Yeah, well, if somebody wanted to give me a piggyback ride, I would have done it, but no.
Well, I'll owe you the drum.
Yeah, so now I can walk up there, cause I have the
Good
thing,
for you.
but the point is that I have some experience that that's not an option.
Well, and that really doesn't affect, well, I don't understand your question. Are you saying, well, could the Norwich property house a parking area? Is that your question?
Yeah, or could you go around and come down to
To
change?
alleviate what John is bringing up?
Yeah,
I think the straight up is not passable for
No.
most vehicles. It's got very like
Well, and also
big
to,
drainage.
also to the core areas, it would need quite a bit of grading and quite a bit of, see, it's tough to get in there. I've been in there recently with one of the utility trucks, and it was, even for them, it was tough. So you'd have to do quite a bit of work on the road, the approach and the flatter. I mean, if it could be graded and cleared out, it'd be a great spot. It's
Yeah, you'd have to
very
get the
wide
landowner
open.
to agree to.
Yeah, it's very wide open.
and the
That's-
landowner is,
Well, Norwich University, but that's not the discussion we're having tonight.
thank you.
Well, I think it is important to
Alternatives,
know, like, if there was a super great alternative, then I think everybody would prefer that.
100%. We would have done it already, I guarantee you.
maybe we need to, I hate to sound like this, but maybe we need to study, we have 3 weeks. You can't come up with a solution in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Isn't
They're-
it, we're
they're
done
even
in
in
3 weeks,
October,
those
right?
people are done?
Well, they haven't started the tank building yet.
So, yeah, so they'll be there first, second week in November.
So we have till the first or second week in November to make this decision.
And we'll be
Well-
having these meetings again.
That's what I was gonna say, and I think that there needs to be, I see some people here, but I don't see any Norwich people here, so I think, of course, getting Norwich to, they can't make decisions in August, but they can make decisions in September and October. Maybe we need to have discussions with them about, maybe we're not.
I couldn't catch Matt before he left, but he should be in his truck now on his way home, so you should be able to catch him.
You want,
Yeah, I left a message. I'll be about me when he gets home.
Okay.
Select board meeting,
minutes
you
and I'll
want to
call him.
mute
All right.
yourself?
Okay.
Yep, bye.
Jeez.
It's still unmuted, Jeff, so you might wanna just mute it,
Do you know how
so
to
it
mute
doesn't
the
happen
whole,
again.
just the whole meeting participant?
Okay, just mute the whole thing, and we'll come back to it. So, we've got a little discussion with the board, there's residents from, Bynum Hill and that area up there. Are you guys formed a committee, or are you got with one voice? Or do you,
Jeff, it's just in the right-hand corner, you just,
if not?
right,
Well,
there.
Charlie answer that question, are we in a
No, that's for the whole, I think the whole group.
Black?
I don't know.
But David, what I'm interested in,
I
if there's
just
a
wanna answer this one
consensus,
quick, we're not a committee yet.
right? Is there a consensus? Because I'm counting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Yeah, I live on Byam Hill, and I've lived there for
Do you have-
7 years.
So the people that want to speak that live on Byam Hill, do you have a spokesman you'd like to have speak for you? Laura,
We're
you've been
requesting that,
elected.
Laura.
Should I come up or you want me to just?
Dad,
Yeah.
come up to the podium.
Alright,
So there are a number of people here from the neighborhood on Vinefield, and they've asked me to sort of be a spokesperson for them. I'm not sure they all agree on everything, but one thing they agree on is that we would like to see improved accessibility, but we'd really like to save Cheney from having a parking lot. We think it would take a great deal away from its beauty and its natural resource values, and we would like to work with the Northfield Conservation Commission and the walkability group, get together and form some new options that could really work, we hope, and do some research, because we don't know enough about this to know if all the alternatives have been studied. So we would like the opportunity to do that.
Because I have letters we have letters from the Town Forest Steward Committee, we have letters from the Northfield Conservation Committee, we do not have anything from the neighbors.
So that was from me.
So now we had a spokesman, and I appreciate that, and the spokesman's willing to work together. So we are now able to ask you folks to caucus with the other folks so we can come, because if it gets down to a 3-2 vote, you guys you're gonna be very mad. Somebody's gonna be mad at somebody, and I don't want that to happen. Because we're gonna make a decision, whether it's completely return it back to where it is, make an improvement here, the contractors are there, we've got some opportunity to do essentially what you guys would like to see done. Which is the reason I wanted this, because we're getting short on the time frame. So you have the accessibility group, Town Forest Committee, we've got, if you need the emails, he's got it all. We just start that communication, and I would love it. And if you don't all agree, guess what? We're not all gonna agree either. So it's just one of those things, I want everybody to at least have the opportunity to talk and be heard.
I would ask you to include Norwich in this discussion at least.
Okay, I'm probably not the decision maker, so I would say if you guys want that to happen, then it can probably happen.
And
Andrew, who's the director of the Shaw Center, is
Yeah,
on the Town
yeah,
Forest Stewardship
yeah.
Committee, so if they're looped in, at least Andrew's looped in.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Okay, so our idea is that we would have, at least, we've been talking about it, a few of us, maybe 1 or 2 representatives from each cohort, and get together and hopefully have public meetings, so people can also have input as we go along, lest we leave people behind and they have opinions.
That would be great.
Alright,
And we will, if you inform us when you get all that together, we can arrange the space, we can arrange whatever we need to do. We are going to facilitate whatever this is and recognize that there's going to be disagreements, but we're gonna make a decision as publicly as we can.
but when would you like a decision? Are we gonna be able to get Cheney back before we have to make a decision? Because that would be really
I'm sorry,
cool.
are we gonna be able to get what back?
Are we gonna be able to restore Cheney back to what it was before we have to make a decision? Because the.
See, that's where I think Charlie is not understanding. So the group consensus is they don't want the parking lot up there.
That's what we need to hear. And
So, but that's what she said.
But
she also said she wants to look at alternatives to that for better accessibility, and thought that this group may be able to cohort with the other groups to get it done.
So from Charlie Morse's opinion, there's 4 select board members up here. From Charlie Morse's opinion, I see an opportunity to save a shekel or 2. Because there's going to be equipment up there that can do whatever needs to be done. And they will do it, and then they will leave, they'll accomplish whatever we tell them to accomplish. It doesn't have to be just a parking lot. They'll widen the road if we need to, if there's an accessibility, but they're leaving in October.
So was your question, Laura, does a decision need to be made before, or will the field be returned to the way it was
When?
prior to a decision being made, is the question.
That's gonna be a decision that this board is going to have to make.
I think the answer is maybe not, because if the decision is take it away, then it'd be gone, and then we could talk after that.
Yeah.
But if the decision's keep it, then no, I mean, I think it's timely. It's important to have conversations
So
now,
you think,
so that,
okay, so the Conservation Commission, and I won't speak for them, they're here, maybe they would like to speak. Their idea is that this decision, we start from the premise that we do not want a parking lot in Cheney Field. That may not be the final decision, but we don't really know how we would get to a place where we've studied all the alternatives by the time you want to make a decision.
Well, so then if we can't make if whatever these 5 decide is going to happen, and we direct the manager, whether it's a parking lot or return it back to normal, and everybody's gonna have to live with that if we, right?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna make the decision on what goes on up there, and it's very important for me to get as much input as I can. If the time comes around that these guys are moving out of Northfield, that takes our equipment away, that takes the opportunity to do anything up there. Once they're gone, they're not gonna come back, so which means it's going to be another, okay, we can talk about it and we can work on it somewhere else. But as you heard at the beginning of this meeting,
Well, they need,
we're not, discretionary income is going to dry up. We've got a $300,000 bill that is either gonna be bonded or we're gonna raise taxes. 300,000. So, all right, so,
Right, yeah, we're not part of the Bynum group.
okay.
But I just want to say, I'm sorry, what's your name? Jeff Ryder. This road that you're talking about, have you seen it?
yeah,
Well, I know you have. Charlie?
Yeah, the road that was built mistakenly?
Okay, it's the
no,
ugliest
all of it,
eyesore in the
all
world.
of it.
And it's in the most beautiful part of our town. And we've absolutely scarred the mountain. And now you're talking about keeping it there.
no, we're not talking about keeping that road.
No, we're
dude.
talking about the parking lot, we're talking about all of it.
Okay, but
The
the
road
road
that goes
won't
up-
stay.
Wait,
The parking lot shouldn't stay either.
from the log cabin going up, you're gonna take that out?
No, that road's always been there. That's gonna.
Not the way it is now. This
Right,
looks like
okay.
a
I just
highway.
wanna make sure we're all talking about the same stuff,
Yeah.
that's all.
Talking about
This is an eyesore.
Yeah.
It goes up, it's a wide stone road. It's not a trail, it's not a walk in the woods. You get up there, and then you've got the parking lot. And you're just taking the most beautiful part of our town, and it's ruined for the time being because of the water. But to keep it that way is just, that's a crime.
So when you say the parking lot, you're talking about going straight up through the gate?
No, oh yes, through the gate.
Straight up through the gate, and then up and around, not an immediate left.
Yes, the first left,
The first left.
where they're parking their big equipment.
Right, so that's not going to, what we're talking about. We're talking about when they leave, that big equipment, and what I envision is something completely different. It's gonna be more of maybe a 6-car parking lot.
Of what composition?
Well, what I would like it to be would be short grass and material that doesn't fail when it's wet, so people don't get stuck there. But it's not gonna be paved, it's not gonna be blacktop, it's gonna be stone material that already exists up there.
There was a survey done for the town about 2 years ago.
Right.
Maybe we can find a record of that, but the people in the town spoke out against it.
Right.
And so now,
And now we're
it's
talking
snuck in the
about it.
back door here.
We're always going to be talking about all things, because a decision was made 2 years ago, a recommendation doesn't make it permanent. We have to keep
Okay,
our
so-
eyes open at all
So
times.
maybe we do the same survey again.
Well, we can reference that too. So, but the idea is if your idea is that we can't think about new ideas when opportunities present, that's not a good way to go through the town business. You're certainly welcome to bring up that, hey, the people said 2 years ago, we don't want that. Okay, bring it up. I see an opportunity to have one of those big track hose scratch a place open in native material and cover it and create drainage and come away from it. And who cares if it gets covered in grass again?
But that's not what it was.
But it's not going, it's not
You
going.
apparently don't like nature.
No, actually,
No, you can't.
quite a bit.
If you saw that road and you wanna keep it there, you don't like nature.
See the road that's now been built for the,
Everybody.
well, I do like
Charlie,
nature.
can we, I don't know, redirect?
All right, how do you want to read it?
I don't know, let somebody else have a turn or, you know, keep.
Okay.
So
I have a question about the material that's in that staging area. I was under the impression that that was gonna be used to backfill around the tanks after the tanks are complete. So if that's the case, then somebody's gotta pay for the material that's gotta backfill around the tanks. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but
Well, a
I've
portion
been
of that,
told that material that they put there has gotta be used to put back around the tank once the tank is laid.
There's two sources of material that I'm aware of. One is the topsoil that was removed to build the roads that scarred the field. That has been retained, as far as I know, so that we can restore that road that they put in. And then,
Diagonal road that was unauthorized.
that's right.
Okay. So what
That's
about the material for the staging area?
where the staging area being where the, where that.
trailer. The work trailer, is that what you're saying?
Yes, we're the,
No.
the
Or
part.
the
Okay,
core
there was
parking
no
lot.
trailer last time. I
Where the
was up there.
staging area was where they were parking.
So,
Across from the pine trees.
the road that, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your name. Yeah, Jeff?
Jeff.
So the road that leads up Bynum Hill and makes the left-hand turn has been enlarged. I don't know that there's any appetite for that to be brought back to a smaller road. I think that probably will say, Jeff, I am one member of a board of 5. We never know what we're gonna finally decide on. Then you turn left immediately, and you go up to the Cheney Farm. So we're all on page there, on the same page there. The road that was incorrectly installed came from a slag pit at Norwich Head, and they used the slag to do all their construction. And that flat area is not ours. We can't do anything. I don't know what Norwich wants. I believe it's gonna be, that particular part is not going to change. Our property is the tree line, and we're gonna put it back the best way we can with the input from the community. And that's why I had this on the agenda, is because to make that decision, whether we go back to au naturel, or if we modify it in some fashion, I wanna have that discussion with as many
You still
people.
haven't answered my question.
I'm sorry?
You haven't answered my question. My question was about that material that's being used for the staging area. Is that supposed to be used to put around the tank when the tanks are completed?
Jeffy has a question about a contract. Is that material that is staged gonna be used to backfill around the reservoir?
Yeah, portions of that material
So
will.
if you're gonna use that material for your parking area, then you have to get material to put around the tanks, which is gonna be an increased cost to the town.
Well, I mean, it's a fairly large area with the road going up to the tank and then where they've expanded, and then they have piles of material. So yes, a lot of that material will go towards backfilling that tank. But the board hasn't decided what size parking lot, but if it is a small or parking lot, at least the area is cleared, will be cleared, and some material can remain. So yeah, there may be some added costs, but minimal, considering what's envisioned as a smaller parking lot. But to answer your question, yeah, significant amount of that material will
Minimal's
be
pretty vague term.
significant amount will go to back.
The lady in the back on the white shirt?
So I guess I have,
I'm sorry, what's her name, please?
Karen Hutchinson.
Thank you.
So I guess in the contract, does it not say that it's gonna return it back to the condition that it was as closely as it was before the construction, right? Is that
Correct.
And then you have 3 groups here that are telling you that we don't want it, that's what, we wanna follow the contract. And then you're telling me you all still have final decision, and I'm confused by that. So
Well,
basically, in
because-
my opinion, I'm feeling like you've heard 3 groups say, we want it to go what the contract says, and what I'm getting from you is you're gonna do what you want.
Well, what I'm gonna do with the input that I get, that's, and remember, it's a board of 5.
Right.
Right, so my recommendation would be, since the offer has been made outside of the contract,
Who made that offer?
when a
It says
contract,
something that you wanted, so you made that?
no,
Okay.
no, it's just it's essentially a traditional way, how do you want this to look when we're back? They're obligated to, put it back to the way it was.
Right.
They are also flexible enough that they can do what we want to if we wanted to do something different, without added cost to the community. It's not a change order.
Okay, and then one other comment, if it's not done appropriately, and somebody that wants to use it, does have some sort of disability or that struggles a little bit and gets up there and falls, if it's not done, if it's done haphazardly, as you're saying, like just throwing in a parking lot, and then somebody goes up there and gets hurt, I feel like that's gonna be on us. And do we want people up there in a parking lot with our water system right there?
Right, good, that's the input we need to have, and liability is something that we deal with every year.
Thank you, that's-
Sidewalks, highways, bridges.
I'm just concerned that people are gonna go up there in their cars, and with our water all right there, it's just concerning.
Gotcha. Yes, ma'am,
Nancy Laverne.
make sure you tell, all right.
I guess I wanna just follow up and come around, in 2 key areas. I feel there are 2 separate entities that are happening right now. There is the contract for Cheney, putting in the water tank. Thank you, Karen, for articulating that. We went into the contract, I feel as a taxpayer and a landowner saying, obviously we have to fix the water tanks. That's an infrastructure, we have to do this for our town. We go in and we put these tanks because it is very clearly stated in the contract that it would be returned to a natural state in which it was found. So I'm asking the board to step and look at NCC, the Stewardship Committee, have been very clear in their documents that you have given to you. We, as a small group from Byron Hill and are growing in, have asked Laura to articulate for us our things, that there are 2 issues. We are asking for you to look at the data that was given to you after a ton of work from these committees that have said no. You have come back and asked, the answer has been no again, and that you honor that research and dedication that those people put into that, as well as the community that clearly stepped up with over 100 people saying, no, it needs to be in a pristine area. We are not saying that people with mobility, whatever mobility issue is, that we can't improve access into this area. But that to us is a separate issue. You have a time constraint. We are asking you to honor the research of the people who put in a lot of time to stop the development in any sense on Cheney Field. Then, to add this, give us time, all of the stakeholders, to put in effort in looking at alternatives that will be really, people can hold on to that information and say, this was good. But it can't, as any good decision, be done haphazardly, throwing stuff together without data and research. Have I articulated for the folks here of what we're trying to ask for? Does anybody else like to add anything? Please, please consider this.
Yeah, she had her hand up, yes, you want to add something?
Thank you, Ginny Kunkel. Ginny Kunkel,
I'm just here to speak as a resident. I am a representative on the Town Forest Committee, and I'm not speaking for the committee. But I do want to speak for, I'm not a neighbor. This doesn't personally affect me, as far as people driving by my house or walking by my house to access the forest. But I'm critically concerned about the access to the forest for everyone else in town. So I'm speaking for the other 5,500 people that are out there that want to access the forest. And so what I did today is I reread the Northfield Town Forest Access Feasibility Study done by Du Bois and King in 2022. And on page 17, they had some graphs. And one of the graphs showed that most people were very unsupportive of paving in Cheney Field.
Yeah.
Secondly, most people were very supportive of a gravel parking area. They were also very supportive of kiosks, bike parking, and signage for wayfinding. That was on page 17 of that report. So that report, I think, speaks for a lot of people who aren't just neighbors, but are people who are here and want to get into the forest.
Thank you. Can I just add one more thing? The report actually, in another section, made it very clear that the overwhelming majority of people that participated in that feasibility study opposed any parking area in Cheney. In fact, they did not want to see any development in Cheney. That was a lot, that's a pretty good number of people that were in that study. And frankly, I think this whole discussion loses the fact that we're talking about taking away some of the beauty from Cheney, and the beauty of Cheney is really its beauty. I mean, it's just gorgeous up there because it's a natural area that's been minimally disturbed. And I think that's what everybody would like to see going forward, at least the people who want to talk.
Well, how do you reconcile what she just said?
I didn't see that as being how I read study results.
Lydia, please.
As somebody who served on the project committee for that study, I might be able to kind of blend those two, perhaps. With every study, you have to pick a certain number of options to explore. And in the very beginning, we laid out all the different options, and we picked which options to explore. We very quickly wrote off Cheney at that time because of two reasons. One was the public concern over anything happening in the field. But the second major reason why was the anticipated cost of improvements to the road and anything up there. And the assumption was that it would be too costly. That was, paired with public concern. There were a lot of contradictory elements of that report. So like, for instance, people said, oh, we only want parking at the Shaw Center. They also said, we prefer many smaller lots. So there's lots to pull from that. But I don't think it gives us one clear answer. It gives us some clear answers. And also what we discovered in the alternatives that we pursued was that they actually weren't really, like the biome option wasn't very viable. And we tried to increase the parking at Norwich, but we've discovered that, working with a private entity, we even had the funds to expand parking at Norwich, but they weren't doing their stormwater permitting. So we had to give up that portion of the grant project and move to other things. So there's a lot in that report. I think we should keep going back to it. I think we should keep asking questions. I hope that helps bring it a little closer together of both the things you're saying are true from what was in there.
Okay, is there anybody online who would like, yes ma'am?
Lauren and Downey, I just have a question. Regarding the illegal road that the contractor did, was there any penalty against the contractor? Or is that why they're being so accommodating to do whatever we want?
Yeah, it's not a tit for tat. If I can go back to the memory banks, there was the original plan was going to remove, I think, 50 trees and carve out, a place where they could make that turn, and site visit said we can just go up here, Norris will give us property, and they did it that way, and then they went from that staging area through the field, essentially not telling us. So they, this is not a tit for tat, this actually was cost saving on their half, and now they're going to put that road, make that road disappear. Is there anybody online that has any input? We're going to invite you to speak as soon as we turn the speakers on. All right, I take it we're on.
Excuse me?
To address.
Excuse me?
Want to say something?
Yes, this would be Chris Bradley. I take no sides in this question, but am I correct that Byam Hill is a town road?
Correct.
And it ends at the intersection of the Cheney Field Road and Quarry Hill, which I believe is Norwich.
I think you're right on there.
I
If you
think we
Google
have
map it,
right away that extends beyond the gate.
there might be a right of way, Chris, but when you make the turn, you're getting real close to water department land.
As a town road, until a section of it is abandoned and thrown up, it should be accessible to people. And if it's not accessible to people, then you should have a turnaround. And certainly I'm acquainted with a previous owner on Byam Hill, a good friend. I wouldn't want it to through traffic, but if it's a town road, there is an inherent right of way. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
All right, does anybody else want to follow Chris online? Hearing none. We're not going to take a motion. We've had the dialogue. I appreciate everybody chiming in. We're going to.
Wait.
What? Dan?
I'm sorry guys, yeah, I'm reluctant to stick my head up here, but I just, if you don't mind, just another quick thing. Dan Anderson, Northfield Falls. I'm part of the Accessibility, Walkability, and Pedestrian Safety Task Force here in town. Better access to the town forest is something that we've been talking about for a couple of years now, and we're passionate about that. It's easy to see just from the last half hour when I was able to get here that there is a lot of passion and opposition to the notion of better accessibility at Cheney Field. I totally respect that. What I would love an opportunity for before any official decisions are made is to, and Charlie, I think this is something that you might have been suggesting, is to have representatives from some of these different cohorts sit down for a good faith, human to human, neighbor to neighbor, Northfielder to Northfielder conversation about the possibilities for Cheney Field. One thing I'm aware of that concerns me is that I think it's really, really easy to make assumptions when you just hear the idea of parking in Cheney Field. And someone might have in their mind something like a amusement park parking lot or something, but there's a lot of different ways to achieve access to the town forest. I love nature, I assure you. Love nature. I also really love the idea of equitable accessibility to what everyone in here would agree is a crown jewel of our town. To me, it's sad to think that there are a lot of people who love this town and who pay taxes who simply aren't able to enjoy the view from that field. I would never, and please believe this is what I'm talking about with the good faith, please believe, I would never advocate for any kind of an outcome that would compromise the beauty of that field. I think there are some really legitimate arguments against even considering that, but I think there's some also legitimate enough arguments for it that there's room for, like I said, a good faith, human to human, neighbor to neighbor conversation about what the possibilities are, what they could be, and from there, maybe as a united
sort of entity of people with different points of view throughout the town, we could give a unified recommendation to the select board, rather than having a couple groups really passionate in one direction and, you know, some other cohort really passionate in another direction. And I don't know, I'd love an opportunity to really sit down and chat about that and talk about the vision, what the vision that we have is and what it isn't.
Wasn't that what, can I talk?
Well, yeah.
That's all I got.
No, wasn't that what, yeah, that's what,
Well, so
Laura said that too.
Laura said that too, and I was really encouraged to hear that, but then in the next breath, it was, but we don't wanna have that conversation until Cheney Field is totally restored, but then that changes the conversation back to where it was.
I said we thought the timetable is that we're being rushed to find alternatives. We want time to find alternatives, but in the meantime, we think Cheney Field should be restored. Because there's a deadline and I don't.
Is there time for a conversation though to talk more about that, or do we need to just? Okay, I'm hearing November.
That's what I just heard tonight, yeah.
Right, we were
Okay.
told
We're looking at
I'm
less than
learning new stuff tonight too, I don't know, I wanna.
For less than 2 months, we've had this discussion on the table for, since the beginning of the project, and, and I'm going to continue bringing it up until the board directs the manager to do what the board directs him to do. And
If there's anyone here that would be interested in having a conversation like what I described, please feel free to reach out to the accessibility.
I think that was splendid that you just offered to do that. And I, as a member of the select board, would like to hear, I think there is a viable solution here. And I'd like to hear, and I also think there's a lot of smart people in Northfield. So I would like to say, yeah, start talking yesterday.
I don't, if, I liked what you said about trying to make sure they were public meetings so that
Yes.
other people could join too, because
I do too.
Cheney is one of the, I know the common's very important to this community, that field is very important to this community. Any of these things, they bring up a lot of emotions for all of us. We all care. They're hard conversations to have, but I love the way people are talking to each other tonight.
Can we put together like a roundtable discussion that could be warned by the town, so people, I'm speaking in ignorance, this is genuine ignorance, I have no idea. How can we alert the community to this conversation? Assuming there's anyone here that even wants to have that conversation, and pardon me for making that assumption.
No, I see, you don't see what I see that, and they're all going like this, like this, and like this, so I think it's gonna happen. But, maybe we need to form a study group or something. And make it an official thing. That means that those of you who care about this are gonna have to do it this month. When, you know, we only got.
I just don't, if I may.
No, but I mean, you have to start now to
Yeah,
get
we can
things
start
talking about.
now.
If you wanna say something on October 1st, you have to start now.
But the thing is, the research that goes into this, you've seen how long it takes to do things. I'm sorry, but I've been on 2 boards. These are painful, long research projects, and I don't see that happening in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Would it be, sorry, one more, would it be more reasonable to just have some conversations to find out if there's common ground anywhere with everyone? Not like solving the problem or having, I mean, that really shouldn't be you all's.
I guess it's just that
Issues.
we don't understand the options because we are not, the Conservation Commission actually is the person, they are the most expert here. They have been charged with managing and advising about the tub board, which they have done. And I think their idea to take some time and effort to research the options, this is about engineering, we don't even know what would go into some of these areas. But the thing is, if you could just restore the area back to it, then we can start from square one and see where we are.
I think that.
Well, where we would be is square one.
Right.
But that means that we throw away this opportunity.
It's such a minimal opportunity, I'm telling you,
Sorry, I'm gonna stop talking.
Mike, and build a parking lot, this is not a big expense, it's just an opportunity.
Well, if it's not a big deal. yeah.
All I was gonna say was, I think you're overthinking this, I think Charlie was right, I think Charlie on this one. I don't think anybody's asking for the perfect plan in 60 days. I think the issue is, and I'm gonna speak as a taxpayer too, that there's an opportunity to save a few shekels, but it costs money to do things, and we're not talking about a parking lot with lights and, and everything like Dan said, an amusement park parking lot. It's kind of what I'd say, perception I get when I hear people talking about the parking lot. It's, is there an opportunity to leave options open for the future? Don't have to exercise them now, and I think Charlie said that earlier. So I don't think it has to be so complicated that you can't talk about what would the option be to leave, what could we decide to leave some options open for the future while the equipment's there, while something could be done to provide that kind of access going forward. It doesn't mean the gate opens up as soon as the contractors leave, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means it's there. But as a taxpayer, I don't wanna be hearing, oh, well, we decided we're gonna do something up there now, and let's bond for $400,000, because now we gotta do something up there.
But aren't
Or
you,
$500,000.
but aren't you gonna have to pay to restore it if you don't have them restored as part of the contract you already have? If you leave it in there and they leave, they, as far as they're concerned, they probably don't have a contract, and you're gonna have to pay someone to restore it later on.
That's true,
I suspect.
If we left something there
Yeah.
and we wanted it gone at
That
some
would be
point.
true.
But it might be within the town's capacity to get rid of it.
We're not gonna build a structure.
What if we left something that was like enough for 2 cars?
Why?
Because I couldn't walk up there when I didn't have a pacemaker, that's why.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, if we wanna personalize it, I was the one who was walking and I had to turn around and come back down because I could not get to Cheney Field.
All right, being 9:20, thank you, folks. I'm gonna end this conversation. I'm going to end this conversation. We know what we're going to do. I will look at, I will caucus with Jeff about, what our time frame is, and then I will call, it may not be a select board meeting, but it may be something for everybody to get together, so be prepared. Because I like the fact that we're able to have this conversation.
I like that too.
Thank you for that, and thank you for everybody being cool about it. We're going to now, the next item on the agenda is going to be the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission Public Works Emergency Mutual Aid Agreement. That was set, and it's 17 pages long.
Yes, not only that.
How, will you come over there with a load of gravel to help me with my flood?
Yeah.
Jeff, come with us, will you?
Yeah, so,
Hold Ken can't hear us until. Can y'all try to be, a little, can you try to be quiet on your way out so we can continue our meeting?
We're gonna continue the meeting, please.
And you're talking so loud they can't hear themselves. I apologize.
so, yeah, based on multiple conversations over time with regional planning among different groups and the thought about regionalization, Central Vermont Regional Planning came up with this concept of trying to foster more mutual aid agreements between member municipalities. So they've come up with this document. Again, it's not, I don't see it necessarily binding, it's just more of a very good document in my mind that allows for municipalities through regional planning to do mutual aid agreements and work jointly on a number of efforts. Again, it's not a binding agreement, you can step out of it at any time. But again, it's to foster relationships through municipalities in the towns to assist each other in times of need and on special projects. So I would recommend that, the board.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that we sign this document and help our neighbors with, when they are in need, the end.
And get helped too.
Yes, it would come back the other way.
Would you take a friendly motion to approve the mutual aid agreement as presented?
Yeah.
Thank you. If this is not so is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second to approve the mutual aid agreement. I just gotta say, if this is not binding, why is it 17 pages long? That is, I can't believe that. You know, I came down for after Irene without any agreement, and I took tons of stuff out on Western Avenue, and I didn't have any agreement. We just did it.
It's a government entity.
It is bureaucracy at its finest hour. Is there any other discussion regarding the approval of the emergency mutual aid?
I just wanna ask the manager, do you have no concerns about us agreeing to this?
No, I mean, again, it's, you can.
I mean, it seems,
So that makes me to believe it's fun plan, if that's what you're saying.
It's what?
No, because,
Fun plan.
no, but it's helping, so folks will come together from time to time and they'll work together. So it is an opportunity, it's a coordinated opportunity to work in a mutual effort.
So what are are we sharing costs other than labor?
Unless you agree to it, but typically you don't. Typically it's labor, equipment, and those type of things.
So it's in-kind services.
Right. There's no direct cost, unless the board opted to do that, but it's unlikely. You typically don't do that under a mutual aid agreement.
How many municipalities have signed up for this? I see a whole bunch listed, but
I'm not sure at this point.
It does have a procedure for reimbursement in there. So if we send 100 yards of riprap over to
Moortown,
right, an abutting community, we're gonna get it back. We either get it back as riprap, or we're gonna get it back as what it cost us.
so some things might come with a cost and other things might not.
But fortunately, there is no, by this document, no legal document to provide something that somebody requests.
Yeah, it's not saying next time there's a storm, Northfield will do this for these towns or something.
You got salt, we don't, might need to give it to us.
I think it's great. At that meeting that VLCT held, CVRPC was there as well, and they were talking about this general idea of trying to work together more collaboratively at the county level. I think it's great.
Good question.
Yep.
John? Mary?
Yeah, I made the motion.
Okay, of course you did. And just as a side note, I think 17 pages is ridiculous, as I think this is Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission trying to enlarge their operations. Subliminally with a good idea. All in favor of approving mutual agreement, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Do we all need to sign that?
I think it was just a one.
Chair.
Just the chair.
Just the chair?
Yeah.
So this is chairman's signature, thank you very much. The mutual aid agreement has been passed. Next thing on the agenda is Northfield ambulance abatements. We have essentially, since April of 20, unpaid ambulance bills. Do I have a motion to abate ambulance bills? And if anybody's questioning, there are no names on this, that have gone delinquent and to the tune of $105,735.70.
I make the motion.
Thank you, is there a
I
second?
second.
Mr. Manager, will you discuss what the process is that you go through before we abate these, non-collectible bills?
Yeah, so the way it works, we have an outside billing agency. They receive the invoices, and once they get the invoices and the bills from the ambulance and connected, then they work to collect the fees from the folks based on the fee schedule. And so if it starts to become such that folks aren't paying that, the billing agency will send multiple notices to patients to remind them of the bill and try to collect, and then also follow up with a call. So it's about 3 notices and a call. And then if folks do not pay at that point, it's sent to a collection agency, and the collection agency will do those things. But in addition, the invoice or the unpaid invoice will go on their credit rating. So there's multiple steps to try to get folks to pay that. Once, this is based on the finance department will put together a list of ones that have not been paid, or also where we find out somebody's deceased. They'll put a list of those folks that can no longer pay or won't pay after that process is done, i.e. the collection process. And also they'll take it off accounts payable. But fortunately, at any time after it's abated, the municipality can still collect the funds or receive the funds. So there is an extensive process, but again, this is a list that the accounting department puts together and recommends that the board abates.
Are there any questions, Dave? Lydia? John? No. Mary?
Nothing.
Thank you very much. All in favor of approving the ambulance abatement for a total of $5,735.70. Do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the abatements have occurred, are approved. Next thing is the Northfield, all right, so Slaughterhouse Road drainage. So as we all know, the let's see, I think the board knows essentially the full story of how this Slaughterhouse Bridge got to be. My story is that a citizen or user of that bridge called up and inquired what was going on about that bridge. And the bridge essentially, water got on the bridge. Water and timber, old timber, are mortal enemies. The water and a silt remained wet instead of just water coming onto the bridge and evaporating or go away. The silt held it in place, which created rot. It was a drainage issue. So the question is, what is the best avenue to redirect that water? And we have installed I guess they went down with a track hole or a backhoe or something and created a ditch. Is that adequate? What did the contractor say?
Well, the contractor had dug out around a lot of it, but the highway has done some, but it still needs quite a bit of work to finish it off. It needs to be stoned, probably needs to be a culvert in there. It is a difficult spot because, again, on both sides, you have a downhill slope heading right towards the bridge. Plus, on the Route 12 side of the bridge, it's really tight. You've got a very tight situation there. So I think that's why the municipality has been limiting in what it's done. But there is enough right-of-way to come back in, clean up the excavation that's been done, put in proper stone, put in a culvert to try to direct that water away from the bridge. But it is a little bit difficult or complicated. Again, you've got downhill slope, plus you've got a tight spot. But Carl and I have been Carl, the highway foreman, and I have been talking about what we can do and approaches to try to move that water away from that bridge. Again, when they originally built it, you had that downhill slope.
Okay. So the highway report of 24, I believe it was, the state highway inspection said you should put in a box that is got a grate on it. And that was a recommendation. You all remember that?
Yes.
Right, so we were supposed to put a box. The recommendation was that you put a device in there that captures the water and deflects it, and that was never done. And that's gonna cost us a fair amount of money because we had to authorize emergent repairs. So, do we want to direct the manager to go with the state recommendation from a year ago, or the contractor's recommendation who's rebuilding the bridge? Is there any?
Which one's cheaper?
Do we need to get that detailed, or can we just direct?
I have a lot of questions first.
Okay.
When was the last time we spent major money on that bridge? Mr.
It was
Manager?
4 years, 3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years
It
ago.
was about 75,000.
What was the report that we received from the Daniels Company at that time regarding the overall condition and the recommendation to really fix the bridge?
Yeah, so at no point did they, well, I'd have to go back, look.
Well, I can tell you, they instructed us to install steel girders, improve the abutments and the drainage around, and to use steel versus, John, were you on the committee then, John, when that happened? Instead of timber, because of the rotting issues, potential rotting issues.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep, thank you. You're correct now, you jingled my mind.
And the cost was like,
750,000.
yep, versus what, 80,000 we spent? When we did that, the original Daniels repair. Yeah.
Can I say something on that?
What's that?
When I moved here 49 years ago, the deck on that bridge was higher than what it is now. And when a car went onto that bridge, you went up and onto the bridge from both sides. With the deck on the bridge is about 10 inches lower now than what it was then. So obviously, you can't stop the water because the water just goes right down in. But you ramp up here and up onto it.
I have a feeling I know why they reduced the floor for height.
For bigger trucks?
I don't think
I don't think so, because the trucks,
Well, then why did the floor get moved? Why did the floor get adjusted?
they did put enough material in there when they repaired the deck.
Just recently?
When Daniel did, they should have brought that deck up to where it was originally.
So what I'm hearing is that this isn't the right term, but the header that sits on the on the stone foundation has been lowered, which would then lower the deck, so instead of, so we've got 8x8s in there now. So you think that they reduced the, whatever it was before, 12x12s or whatever, we don't know.
Yeah, I know they did.
They lowered, they did. So, the plot thickens. Well,
Yeah, it's not like the town was trying to avoid this. I was an advocate of spending the money at the time to really fix the job.
700,000?
Yeah, I was in support of it.
and that would have put steel underneath the bridge.
It would have addressed the drainage coming down. It would have reinforced the what do they call, John, the supporting?
The head walls.
The head walls, and put steel under it versus hemlock. I think they used hemlock. If we're really in the business of preserving our history and our bridge. But we didn't even entertain that really. It was just, well, we can't afford that. But add that bill to the bill we're just doing to another bill, we're halfway there.
Right.
And we still have the problem of the drains.
So the report that was sent to, the state report that was sent to the town, do we want to go with that or some hybrid?
And we received a copy of that in our packet.
No.
Email.
You received it previously, I didn't follow.
In an email.
Yeah.
I don't wanna presume to know what the best solution to the drainage is.
Exactly.
I don't feel comfortable saying you should do this or that. I don't know the cost, I don't know which one works better, but I would love to direct the manager to find the best solution to the drainage. If we want him to come back to us, or if somebody here does know the best solution, I'm happy to listen, but.
I mean, that sounds like you're diverting water into that's what I was thinking before you even said it, some sort of a
Trough.
mechanism, trough, to catch it and divert it. I mean, that sounds reasonable, but are we really addressing the whole problem of that bridge?
It's the only engineers, John came up with a solution to use a conveyor belt, bury the conveyor belt, so, because it's flexible and you can form it in direct waterway, and that is very inexpensive. So, conveyor belts, I think it was a 20-inch conveyor belt maybe, but the idea is you'd have 2 or 3 inches above the ground and then angle it in such a way that Mother Nature is going to go away from the bridge. That's from a civil engineer, and I'm down with that. And I'm down with the fact that the state bridge inspector said we need to put what I call a cattle crossing in there. So it's an iron box with iron over it, and that's what my reading that report told me that they were thinking about doing.
So I would like to revisit what the Daniels Company in their original recommendation, and they gave us 2 or 3 options.
Okay, we'll give it 3 options.
Okay.
Okay, great.
I mean,
Why
well,
don't we do
you
this?
say great, but let's, unless, is the bridge in peril to fall in the river right now? No.
With the work they've done, they've stabilized.
Yeah. So I'd like to look at it as a whole and not just a patch job, because we're gonna end up spending the money. It's either pay me now or pay me later.
But if we put new wood in there and we don't fix the drainage, well then, we're just being
It's
ridiculous.
not, and that's what Daniels told us
Yeah.
Good
originally.
money after bad, you're right.
Daniels said that originally.
Right, and the state said fix the drainage.
Yeah, well, the state had passed that bridge inspection several times where they shouldn't have done. That's my opinion.
Right.
Is that right,
Okay,
Mr.
so,
Manager?
Come up with 3 options.
for the future, prior to the budget year, we would like to have all of the previous reports regarding that bridge, the most recent state inspection or the.
Yeah. And to see physically what the state proposal is.
And it'd be nice
Did you
if-
see it, John?
No, they just said put a grate in
Yeah.
and cement concrete to be poured to support the grate,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Why don't we just raise the bed back up again?
Yeah.
All right,
Build the deck higher
so,
again?
thank you very much for entertaining that. Next thing is community.
Wait,
No,
before
I'm
we
sorry.
leave the subject of the slaughterhouse bridge,
Yes,
I believe we have another motion that we have to make, which is to acknowledge a violation of the open meeting law and to our intent to cure that violation. And we need to do that tonight so
that's
that,
supposed to be tonight?
yeah,
Can we incorporate that into the?
Well, what Nick Letty is saying, just acknowledge that, and then at another meeting within the next couple of weeks, the way I read it was to, if the board so desires, have a meeting to remedy what was,
So if everybody, if you don't know what this is, I called a highway meeting. We learned about the Slaughterhouse Bridge from a citizen that uses the Slaughterhouse Bridge, and when I contacted and I knew nothing about it, there had been no word the Slaughterhouse Bridge had been, evaluated to be substandard, so we had that discussion, and then it turned out that in fact, the Slaughterhouse Bridge was, the weight had to be reduced from 16,000 pounds to 6,000 pounds. And it turned out, once we got the documentation, that the contractor said actually, or close the bridge. So this is, and he took pictures of it, and the pictures are on YouTube. So it got to be a really concerning thing. So I called the highway committee, and as more information is developed, I realized that our civil engineer said, this is an emergent, John Stevens, this is an emergent issue. Jeff recognizes that he had authority for emergent issues, and at the meeting, I asked the board, and Mary attended the meeting, to direct the manager to expense authorize emergent repairs to the bridge, which he's allowed to do. The drag is we had a quorum. And that means I should have had a select board meeting instead of a highway committee meeting. So I broke the rules. The bridge is stable. That's what that is. So you wanna have this on another agenda?
I just want to say, acknowledge that we made a violation and that we intend to cure the violation.
All right.
And let them, can you make sure that the minutes show that?
Well, it's also stating in page 2 here, specific cure requested. Wait on any action until a discussion is held at a properly warned select board. Was this item warned on our
Slaughterhouse
agenda?
Bridge, not the,
Well, I would say before doing anything, we warn it at the next meeting.
okay.
But I am the one that made the complaint. And the contract has already been signed. The remedy I requested was to have it properly warned before the contract got signed, which cannot happen. But I do appreciate everybody's acknowledgement, and I would love it if there's ever a situation like this again, where a big financial decision needs to happen, that we warn a select board meeting, because subcommittees are not supposed to be
That's
making
correct.
financial decisions.
And what I should have done is call for an emergency meeting
Yeah.
instead of a highway committee meeting.
Right.
That would have resolved all the issues, and
Yeah.
as long as we were able to come up with a quorum. But the manager has authority, just like when he blocks Lover
Yes.
Lane and all that stuff, it's just, I was hearing crickets. So, I felt it was important.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I think our remedy is have this warned at the next meeting and then proper discussion.
right, so I will put the, open meeting law on the next agenda.
Yeah.
And you won't let me forget, right,
No.
Madam Vice Chair?
Well, there's 3 of us in a row here. One of us should remember it.
Don't worry, I'll be on the phone.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. There's no motions to be done with that yet. Community communication policy. It was pointed out to me that back in April, there was gonna be weekly updates on the, going on in town, all of the things that we do as a community, whether it's a project or whatever. And I asked Jeff at the meeting to come up with a policy. He put it on the agenda. And I was thinking about
We'll have a policy next time.
well, what I was thinking of was that, you know, he knows what his schedule is better than I know what we know what his schedule is. And it was today, I think you put it out on, there was a posting somewhere today.
I saw that, it was much appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, it might, after these projects settle down, I can see that, you know, it might be reduced and he can tell us that we're no longer busy. But just chloriding the road, grading the roads, replacing the culvert, we've got culverts on Little Northfield.
Okay, yeah, we could come up with a policy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a version of the project tractor, just week to week, that works. And I created a policy, I sent it to the board. If you guys wanna do that, or if you wanna see what Jeff does, but we have to get better at our communication. It's just the way it is.
It's been a little tough with the Main Street project because they stayed on South Main and then, you know, they would move but not tell us. So I chewed them out big time and they understand. And the water shutoffs, they violated the contract and I really pounded on them.
How many change orders do we have for that project?
For the water line, I think we're up to 7 or 8. But that's pretty typical. I mean, the CSO project, you had probably 10 or so.
You start digging in the ground, you don't know what you're going to.
Exactly.
You mean like the culvert on Route 12A?
Well, that and cement and dead bodies on the road.
All right, we'll have one.
Thank you. Budget priorities. I'm guessing everybody recognizes that the Main Street Bridge is a big budget priority. Is there any, I would like for you guys to think before these guys go into the budget session, what you feel is necessary for us to go, knowing that we've got a $300,000,
But we can't do that until we know how we finish the past current
right?
fiscal year.
Right.
When are we gonna get that, you normally have reported to us
So,
what the projected balances are. right
yeah, I
now.
mean, I did, but
Really? What the balances were?
No, we've been told there's a surplus.
Yeah, but we haven't been told how much,
oh, so what I,
specific
oh,
numbers.
well, in my report, I did say I estimated $300,000.
Okay, I missed that then.
And,
This report?
no, it was, a couple of weeks ago.
All right.
But normally you gave us a
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah,
to that
and so
effect.
I've asked accounting, they are a little
I
bit.
understand.
Yeah, so, again, we,
So there will be about a 300,000 total?
Yeah.
So highway makes up some of it and general makes up some of it?
yeah, and from this case, as I said in my report, it's primarily the town general.
Okay, very good. Well, that's a starting point. That absorbs some of the shock.
One, I think, going into the budget process, you folks will see that there is the potential to have additional surplus for your next budget year based on staffing levels, but we can obviously talk about that.
We obviously are gonna talk about it. It's the budget.
But the thing that concerns me, the delivery of the news tonight, our bridge project may be delayed another year. I'm willing to bet it will be delayed another year, so you add another
I'm not betting
10%.
against you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bet against you.
I thought you were gonna say you were gonna come up and start digging yourself.
No, not tonight, Mary. But
Town manager's report.
All right, thank you. Main Street water line, making good progress with the water project. A little frustrated though, they tend to be a little disorganized, haven't been cleaning up as much, plus they've been horrible about telling folks about shut-offs. So I laid the line, they know now that they have to do better about that. So they're doing better on that. So they have started work on Prospect, didn't tell me that either, I beamed them out about that. I did get a notice out, but overall, the water line is generally on schedule. The tank project, little concern, well, as I said, the site has been cleared, the tank's been removed, they're ready for the new tank. Folks installing the tank are a few weeks late in getting there. They've assured us that they'll be here within the next couple of weeks. If that's the case, then I'm not concerned, but if they drag any longer, then it could be an issue with the tank. We do have pretty substantial remedies that we can take, again, liquidate the damages, and I told them I'm not gonna hesitate to pull the trigger on that, because that's what those are for. So I'll just keep you posted.
How does that affect our water system?
Well, we've got the main tank, and so we can function with that, but you do like to have that backup. So again, the summer.
Can I say something? As being next door, I can tell you that they started to mobilize over the last 2 days. Equipment's been rolling in from the concrete company.
Right, they brought the pieces of material in,
Right.
but the crew to actually start installing it is not on site.
Yeah.
So it could, but, so I mean, it's good news that, it's good news that a lot of the components are there, but the folks that need to start installing it, unfortunately, are not there. So, but the summer water projects generally on schedule, the tank's falling a little bit behind. Vine Street sidewalk project, that's nearly completed. Very pleased with the work they had done. There was some question from a resident about the speed bump, the location of that. The location, we're okay with it. It's really the signs. And so the contractor's gonna pull those signs out, and we're gonna relocate those signs to better reflect the location of that speed bump.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah, so I spoke with the engineer, but again, I'm very pleased with the overall project. They've done a great job, great folks to work with. They're essentially nearly done, just gonna have to do some line striping.
So August 15th was, by your tickler, was the completion date for Vine Street, or do you think you're gonna meet that?
Yep,
That's 3 days? That's cool.
Yep. Real quick, there was, we did receive an email from a resident, who was concerned about the post office being delayed with shut-off notices as it relates to, utility bills. You know, unfortunately, there's not much we can do about the post office. But as I noted in my report, the billing office really goes above and beyond what's needed in terms of letting folks know about shut-offs. It's unfortunate, but when it has to happen, they let folks know. Again, you know, we send out a couple of delinquent notices to folks who haven't paid their bill, and we send out shut-off notices. And then Bobby Underhill even takes the additional step of calling and emailing folks that they have numbers for, and emails, which is most folks. And then if folks still don't pay the bill, before the actual shut-off occurs, folks from the water department actually will knock on the door and let folks know. So I don't mean to be cruel, but we give folks 5 or 6 steps in which to.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think that was the whole motivation. The whole motivation was the shut-off notices were going to the wrong address, according to Mary's email. They were being delivered to her address for her neighbor's notice.
Right,
but that was the gist of her.
No, I understand.
We have no control over the post office. I
No,
wish
but
we did.
My point is, I just wanted to reiterate that.
You guys do a great job with that.
Yeah.
So it's to shorten your talk down, and thank you for bringing that up there so people know that we're not ogres at the municipal building.
We very much care.
Right. If your guys go there and say, I never got a disconnect notice, then there's a method to make that, to create a remedy.
Calls and emails.
Yeah, right, all right.
At Cross Brothers Dam, as I had mentioned, last meeting, was very concerned about that project not happening. It's, again, looking more like it won't. And unfortunately, you know, it's a delay with FEMA, as Gary had said. They've really come to near a halt at that agency, hard to communicate with, and they're just not following through or producing, and they're just not there, so.
Well, they're about 50% strength, I think.
You know, yeah, so it's just truly unfortunate, but, you know, as Gary said, I think Gary LaRoche and I have talked about this, you know, I think that there still will be an opportunity to have both projects go concurrently, but you know, the dam's not as much.
You seem very optimistic. I wouldn't be.
Oh, about it?
I think that what he delivered tonight may be a blessing. No, the delay.
Well, at least in terms of coordinating projects, but obviously.
We're gonna have a delay in the dam too.
But
I don't think anything's gonna
from
happen
the
till
financial
2028.
perspective.
Oh, no, it's gonna be brutal.
Finance director position, I've fortunately been working on that. I have 2 folks that are now very interested, a person that has worked with a number of large entities, they're very interested, so we've done some outreach and I'm feeling much more confident about that. But fortunately, again, we have Lord Brofield working a good 25 to 30 hours, so keeping the ship going. And as I said, we hired a new bookkeeper. Nice compliment to the office, nice person, and all seems to be going well.
Tell her welcome aboard.
I think that's it for now.
Board members, comments, concerns?
Okay, I have a couple. Gary was mentioning the utility relocation cost. Is that being borne by the municipal, or is that being borne by the utilities?
By either the state or the utilities. If it's the state, then the town pays 5%.
But the town is the utility that's paying, it's not town highway.
Oh, right.
Town general.
It's the utility.
Yeah, so the town.
It's the utility department that's paying for it?
Well, so there's.
We're relocation of the water line, that's one thing he made up.
Right.
That he brought up tonight.
The one thing I keyed in on, there's a lot of electricals to be replaced. So a portion of it, the state is paying for as part of the bridge project, but there's some additional work
Right.
that we're having done to locate some of those utilities. So that will be paid for by Northfield Electric.
Very good. Because we had a very controversial situation occur about 18 years ago.
I'm sorry, I was thinking, I thought you were gonna say 18 months. Yeah.
No, when we buried the lines on the common.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want that to happen.
No.
So when is the paving of South Main Street going to occur?
So, at this point, they'll have it patch paved by, completely patch paved by Labor Day. So,
No, that's not what I asked.
so the full
When
paving,
will the full paving be complete?
I have not got a final answer on that, but it would, within the next 2 months.
Okay, what is the plan for Labor Day's parade and the Labor Day celebration to get this town into shape?
So,
Green curbs, stones, ditches. And you know what I'm noticing? Caps of all our utility valves on Main Street,
I told Jim.
they're shot.
I told them twice that they
Yeah,
need,
there's 4. I walked to the dentist this morning and I saw 4 of them.
well, and also too, there's a couple of manholes. So I told them,
Oh, everybody's, I shouldn't say everybody, 3 people called me and says, is this gonna be ready for Labor Day?
yeah, so
So-
they're gonna patch those, there'll be patch paved, patch around those basins, swept.
It will be, okay, very good. And then, is there a policy, it was very nice to see the minutes from the various organizations. Do we give these organizations a format to follow for minutes? And are we required to, like, I love the minutes, but I don't know Jenny, Ross, Bill, Jeremy, Andrew, Ray, King Light. What's their last names? In the other minutes, it tells us.
Yeah, so.
So I think it should be standardized myself.
Yeah, so these, Ken, these are put together by the committee, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
maybe a suggestion?
yeah,
Requirement for standardized minutes or not.
Yeah,
They need to post within 5 days, that's the only requirement I'm aware of.
And we can at least ask for last names.
yeah, I mean, because I'd like
That's
to know, you know, so I could reach out if I see you're concerned by somebody.
can we make,
But Ray, I don't know, Ray is on.
Pretty important.
Jeremy's here.
It's not hard.
Who's Ray, Jeremy?
Crowder
Okay, and we appointed him recently.
is my last name. So, yeah, we can patent last names on it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I actually like reading the minutes, and sometimes I could go on to watch the videos of the.
We try to capture the last names of public that participate.
I saw that.
Last one.
Yeah, that's good, thank you.
I guess we just assume members of, so, sorry.
Well, my memory is not good.
Yeah.
That's all I had, thank you.
Lydia,
Back to the speed bump on Vine. I saw the email from one person, but I also got concern about it and a question of whether it will be painted at all.
yes,
It will be painted.
yes.
Okay, and is it going to be painted by the contractor doing the project? Okay. Great, that will happen soon then. Because the other one is that the dreaded crosswalk painting, which I feel like we've had, in the several years I've been on the board, we've had a year or two where we got it together. There was 1 year where we got it done early. I was so happy, but every other year has been us at every single meeting.
I know, it's
When
terrible.
are they gonna come?
I
I
signed-
know that you
I
signed
signed it.
contracts.
Way back in April.
I understand it, but
I know,
it's multiple years that we're having trouble, so I feel like we need to think.
Maybe we should go the
About-
old approach, have our guys do it again.
that's what used to happen.
I know,
Right.
and I look around at other towns, and some towns are terrible, but many towns have them painted, so I'm like, okay, why can't we get a contractor and these other towns can, or are they all doing it themselves?
No,
But it's
they're not.
just a really important element
No,
of pedestrian
no.
safety, and if we can't get it done, but it's August, the time of year when people are out walking, it's just, we've gotta
in
figure
school
out
starting
something.
right in 10 seconds.
Yeah, we've gotta figure out a better system, and,
Oh,
and
my.
it seems like whoever this new person is still isn't showing up either, the first one
The
didn't.
what?
the first person didn't show up, now we're working with a second contractor, right? And they're not showing up either because
So
you
we've tried
said,
3 contractors.
yeah,
The one from the year before, they couldn't do it. A new contractor all set, he couldn't do it because he couldn't get insurance, couldn't find employees. Have a third contractor, it's very qualified, but very busy, and I signed a contract with them almost 3 months ago. And they keep, I'm like, Carl, what's going on? Because I called the guy and the guy says, I'm gonna be here next week.
So Jeff, sorry to
Oh, go ahead.
interrupt.
You're
My suggestion is to get a contract signed now for next year. I'm not joking at all, Jeff. I've told you this before.
I know, no.
So please
No.
follow through on it. Get it done now, get a performance that you have an escape valve, and if they don't wanna do business with us, on to the next.
Yep, no, I know.
But just add on to that, run down to the store, pick up some rollers and some paint, and paint the sidewalks. Paint the town.
I feel like if we can't get a contractor, we should at least be set up to do the priority sidewalks, the ones that are, right in our main street, they're really on, and the ones on Route 12, like, or in the falls, or, I mean, I know that's the state, but, okay. Yeah, I also wanna echo my frustration with the contractor not notifying residents. That's just, I mean, if your water is gonna come out of your faucet brown, you should know ahead of time. You should know ahead of time. If you're trying to get ready for work and you need to brush your teeth and take a shower, you should know your water is gonna be turned off. So I really hope for the rest of the project that we're not gonna keep hearing from our neighbors that.
So it is in the contract that they are to do that. Again, I really hate the term, but I really gave them holy
Well,
hell.
what is remounting?
That doesn't
There's
do
no
anything.
penalty.
If you wanna do something that's
Do a
meaningful,
penalty.
take one of those 7 change orders and say, you know what? We're not paying for that because you didn't do this.
Well,
Exactly.
you remember I said that, and you said, well, I don't know if we could do that, but I will.
Yeah. And last thing is just, John, is the fan that's in here actually an air conditioner or is it just a fan?
Circulator.
Air conditioner.
It is an air conditioner?
Yes.
Okay. Does it actually work? I just wonder, this room,
There's separate units. One's the conditioner, but there's a
for
circulator.
future conversations, I feel like more and more the world is hot, we're needing to open cooling centers. The library's often a space, and this room is a space. I wonder if we should look into
Budget priorities, get it on the list.
improving the air
Heat pumps
circulation
for the community room.
in a way that isn't so loud that we can't hear each other.
Heat pumps are silent.
Yeah, alright, that's it, sorry.
No, we need control technologies.
Okay.
As I told Jeff earlier, do a complete evaluation of the system.
Yeah, which, they've done.
He has, I don't know if it's been done. I don't know.
It has? You said it has?
Yeah, so they came and they've identified.
So what are the problems and how are we going to
And
address
so
them?
they put together a proposal to do a number of things, and they're gonna start working on those. That was just recently.
And that will alleviate the noise and make sure the room is cool?
That's my understanding, correct.
Well, that's good news.
So this is this a capital project? I mean, it's not on, is it on this? Is it on our tickler?
No, the project tracker.
Okay. Well, John? Or Lydia, you done? You're done. Who's next? John?
The curb cut at the post office.
So I've got this contractor doing that. They're tearing things up, but they're gonna put it in for me, for us,
When?
before they're done.
The Vine Street contractor or the Main Street contractor?
I mean,
That was supposed to be done 3 years ago.
Yes, it was. And have we had any response from Norwich? About the annual payment?
so we got the payment.
I got that.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to have a 5-year contract.
So we need to revisit that and then.
Well, wait a minute, time out. John and I sent you a letter 3 months ago instructing you to rewrite the letter and send it out Has the letter gone out?
It has not, so we gotta sit and meet on that.
We don't have to sit and meet on it. We already discussed it between the three of us. It just needed some verbiage
Okay.
change.
Lydia covered the crosswalks, Slaughterhouse Bridge. I saw they dug a trench over partway over the road. But other than that,
A lot of fines in that material too.
oh yeah, it's all floodplain.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I had a number of questions about the Slaughterhouse Bridge. Where are we with the contract? Because there was a contract, and I had an email with the contractor, and because I was looking for funding, because Tom Davis wasn't here. So I started looking for funding, and I got, the only funding that was available was for projects that hadn't started yet. So I wrote to the contractor and I asked him, you know, I see this as two parts, the stabilization part, and then the remediation part. He told me they finished the stabilization part and they were starting on the remediation part. That's what he told me.
To the bridge.
Yeah.
He was supposed to stabilize and then he was going to go away and then he was going to come back and remediate. That's what, that was the highway.
That's how I understood it, but then he said, no, I'm able to keep on going and we'll be remediating.
So the contract signed was to do both.
Right. We signed a contract to do both.
Is he still working on the bridge?
Yeah.
And he's still, and by the by, I talked to so many different people and they all swore up and down what a great guy this is. So I have confidence in anything he does. Because lots of other places, Lindenville and other places all said he does good work. So I just want to know, when we put this on the agenda for next time, what are we going to talk about? The guy's going ahead and doing the job. You've already signed a contract. What are we talking about in the next?
Well, so the contractor's working specifically on the bridge. He's not undertaking stormwater improvements. He's working solely on the bridge, and that's what the contract's for.
Yeah.
What Charlie had on the agenda was the drainage.
Yeah, no, this is the agenda that we're going to, when we had to cure the mistake we made.
Oh, okay. So basically, it's just acknowledging the mistake and doing a remedy if needed. I guess you could, it's probably just semantics, just approve.
As I pointed out in the document that we got from McLetty today, on the second page, specific cure requested. Wait on any action until a discussion is held at a properly warned select board meeting. Now, that discussion may have taken place tonight, but I would prefer it to be on the agenda.
But the contract's already been signed and the contractor's already doing the work.
No, that has nothing to do with the open.
This is about,
It does have to do with those.
violating.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so correct me then.
Okay, my complaint was, they held a highway subcommittee meeting.
Yeah.
There's 2 members on the highway subcommittee
Yeah.
meeting. Subcommittees don't sign contracts for over $100,000. Highway subcommittees don't sign any or direct the manager to sign any contracts or agree to spend money. But 3 select board members, they basically held a select board meeting, but I didn't go because it wasn't a select board meeting. You weren't there either. It, in my mind, needed to be discussed with the full board. I wish we had not signed a contract till we could have approved it tonight. I'm not in disagreement that this work needs to be done. And I understand that everybody was just trying to take care of an emergent situation, but we still have to follow.
So what's the remedy?
Well, The remedy is, we're talking about it in public, everybody's hearing that this happened, we're admitting to the violation, we're committing to better meeting behaviors for the future. I wish the contract wasn't already signed, but we already signed a contract, and the manager does, I think, have authority to do that without us when it's an emergency.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
And it was an emergency.
I disagree that it was that emergency level,
Well,
but
the person I rely
Even
on,
if it was, the ability to call an emergency meeting.
select board meeting, yeah, it's
In less than
totally.
24 hours, you could have done it.
Mhm.
that's,
But anyhow,
I couldn't
that's all
tell
water.
I just wanna we will have this discussion when it's properly warned.
Mhm.
All right, Mary.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing I wanna know is, why isn't the slaughterhouse bridge on the project tracker? It should be on the
Yeah,
project
I'll add
tracker.
it to it, yep.
I think that should be on the project tracker. Also, I don't think that this is a project, but I've had several, and we've all had several contacts about the Bailey Road situation. What's happening there?
So they've gone up, they've done work, graded the road.
But there was supposed to be some of that chloride or whatever it is that people.
So they have been using chloride, I'll make sure it was used on that road. Fortunately, Carlos said, we talked about that, that's material, that it's a new chloride based on a new budget, more chloride, and it's very effective.
So when I write back to the people on the road there and say, this is what happened, they'll say, yeah, we saw it happen.
Well, so I've got to confirm that chloride was put, but they went up and did a lot of work up there.
Well, we know that, and in fact, the email that came back to us was, thank you for the work that's been done, now can you do the chloride?
I will double check on that, thanks.
Okay, then what about the situation with the tree on Route 12 South that I mentioned at the beginning of the summer?
Yeah, so DOT has a policy, they will not remove a tree unless they see it's an issue, an emergency. They have tons and tons of trees throughout the state that are worse than that. And so, AOT, yeah, so I've spoken to the district, so they do not, and I knew that before, I read their policy, they don't, or I've talked to them many times over the years, it's a tree on private property, it's the property owner's tree. There's thousands and thousands of trees just like that in Northfield, throughout Vermont, where it's the property owner's tree, and the AOT will not remove those unless if a storm comes and it's leaning over into the road, they will take it. But you can drive up and down any road and you see so many similar roads.
They're not proactive, they are reactive.
Well, part of it is there's thousands of trees along Vermont roads. They don't have the resources, and their policy is not to.
Oh, I understood that. I understand that their regular policy is that. I thought in this particular situation, it was somewhat of a three-way split,
Right.
if you will.
They won't do that. So what,
You asked them?
yes, so they,
Okay.
and also, even before I asked, I knew they wouldn't because I've dealt with this in Berlin, I've been Fairhaven. They will not take a tree, with all due respect, that's on private property.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
No, I'm not arguing.
that inquiry had been.
So, also as an aside, Patrick DeMasi told this person 10 years ago, hey, your tree is gonna get big and it's gonna be a problem. I recommend that you take it down. And again, I'm not being mean, but it's on private property. We have lots of situations and it's unfortunate. You know, I wish I had a magic wand and I could help somebody, but we just don't. So I've written to him a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember when it was.
Him, who's him?
The property owner.
Oh, okay.
And I said, you know, I've spoken to folks on the utility commission and we feel that an appropriate remedy here is for the utility commission and the property owner to split the cost. And his cost would be, what, 1,800, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then, so
It's a
he,
couple thousand.
Did you get a reply yet?
he did respond, he said, oh, thank you so much. can I come in and talk to you? And I said, yeah, I'm available, I think it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, these times, and I've not heard a follow-up.
Okay. All right, well, he hasn't followed up. He hasn't answered me either when I tried to follow up. The next thing I wanted to make sure, I talked to you about the, survey, the implementation
Yeah.
survey for the Declaration of Inclusion.
So let me explain to you, when I saw the email, it said .global, and I checked with others, and they said that was a commercial, so I misunderstood. I thought it was, because we get a lot of.
Yeah, but they're not. You might as well say that the Interfaith Council is a commercial organization.
Yeah.
So,
it
no,
wasn't.
they're not.
After you sent that, I noticed that.
Absolutely not.
But then I couldn't open it. Were you able to open it?
Yes, here it is.
Okay.
And the survey of inclusion has, I would like for a discussion of next steps to be on the agenda next time. And I sent this survey to all y'all so that you could be advised about it ahead of time. So you could decide what needs to happen and not happen. And for the record, I would like to note that these people told me they wrote 3 times to our town trying to get us to follow through with this, which was an embarrassment to me. And the last time was in March.
Yeah, I looked back, I couldn't find it.
Okay, and so then the last thing I wanted to do was to welcome Miss Paya, wherever she is. Let the record show that I welcome her to be part of this organization. And after tonight, she may run screaming into the wilderness. But yeah.
Thank you.
One of the problems we had with Slaughterhouse Bridge was the select board email is still not getting pointed automatically to the select board. It has to go through.
So we've reached out to Simquest. I thought it was, but and then I realized Ken still goes Ken, so we have contacted Simquest, to make sure that will happen.
Thank you.
What's our operating system, Microsoft 365? It's very simple.
I think Doug is just gonna eliminate that since you all have your emails.
No, I don't think it should be eliminated. In my
I think it
personal
will break that
opinion.
way, when it goes to everybody, just from that one address.
I think it should go to every single person on this board automatically. And it's a very simple setting in Microsoft 365.
Yeah, I prefer to keep that email and have it forwarded to all of us, because there's times when people are just, they wanna reach the whole board.
Yeah, sure.
If we just have our individual,
No
then
filters.
likely it'll just go to Charlie and Mary.
But we don't need a filter.
No filters.
No filters.
Okay.
Oh, the spam will come. It's quick to remove spam.
Oh, I
That's
got
all I
one
have.
from you,
Thank you.
Charlie.
Is there anybody in the listening public that would like to add on to this evening under public participation on the schedule?
I have one thought, but you might think it's related to the team field question, so if it's inappropriate, just let me know. But I've mentioned before about the safety coming up Byam Hill. And I think you ought to consider that when you talk about parking up there, because when you come up that hill and you hit Dave Black's house, you can't see, Byam levels off, you can't see up the road if anybody's coming down. And then you've also got the blind intersection with Hill Street. When I come off of Hill Street, I can't really see up or down. I have to get out into the street. So the more traffic you push up there, the more difficult it's gonna become for safety. You have no guardrail on that street. It's not really a 2-lane road, so just consider that as you start thinking about pushing traffic up
It's
there.
good input. Yes, sir.
My question, kind of off, Board Member Maxwell, and paving. Is Prospect gonna be paved when we're said and done, or are we staying in patchwork? And what's going to be?
But we can pave it next year. The board's been very good about putting several $100,000 in, so there will,
So that's not part of the contract?
it's patch paved because it's right on the edge.
It's so patchy already.
Yeah, it was patchy already from the
Yes,
sidewalk
that it was,
project.
when we did the hydrants years ago.
Well, the town should put it, be a priority.
So
And are the sidewalks gonna be replaced?
Yes, but anything
I
they.
mean, it was kinda, you guys know, it is how it is, but we just did all this work to do all this.
Yeah,
these
yeah,
sidewalks and,
they have to replace whatever they've.
yeah, those were my only questions, you kind of.
We'll put that paving on priority.
Would you buy them in Hill too, because they're going up?
Gerard, you're really asking for a lot.
I know, I'm just saying, they're gonna be ripping that all up and then they'll speed.
Mr. Gomez had his hand.
Chief, you got something?
Yeah, just wanted to, appreciate your remarks at the start of the meeting. But the, number one issue is the internal stressor, within the town, and I'll save that for when we go into executive session.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Anybody online have anything to add? I see Matthew McCormick, I don't know, Chris Bradley, KS Ward, Carolyn, Barbara F. Any input? Hearing none, I make a motion, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session regarding personnel.
Do you want to?
Second.
Contract update on
And yes, and legal. Contracts and personnel.
And I will put it again, and inform those police chiefs.
So we have a motion by Mary. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, 5 minute break.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Elroy, do you have a need for any fresh cucumbers?
Well,
You're always
I have
giving-
plenty.
You've got plenty, all right, Mary, they might be, do you
Oh,
want them all?
I get them all. I get them all.
Here, do you want a
Thank so much.
cucumber?
Now, Mary, I expect in December, you know what I expect?
What do you expect?
Come on, cucumbers. Thank you.
Ken, do you want a garden cucumber?
And I apologize for speaking up and get those guys to quiet
I
down.
sure remember I- What's that?
So I apologize for speaking up to get those people to quiet down.
There's
No, that was
apology.
perfect. I
You
love
needed
it.
to.
What, did I ask for
Sliced
cucumbers?
cucumbers.
Oh, yeah?
Remember the Scandinavian dish? Forget it, Mary.
Charlie,
Wow, sliced
can you send me that
cucumbers,
statement
which is
you
out
made
of
at the
season
beginning?
in
I couldn't
December,
do
that's
it.
why you got me.
Right,
Oh,
okay.
you want
Send it to
sliced
me.
cucumbers?
I will do.
I was gonna try something
I've been
new.
walking around town getting all these ice cream bars and popsicles.
Very nice, yeah.
Oh, the podium?
And the guy on Slaughterhouse Bridge too.
Good for you, Elroy.
It'd be nice to keep.
The chair told me it was gonna be the shortest meeting of the year. My wife was absolutely correct, it wasn't gonna be.
Know your audience. Nailed on that one.
I did hear one comment. None of these people that were here tonight, I don't think any of them expected to come to this meeting until they read that it was on the agenda. So that's one of the problems we have with our, the agenda comes out very soon.
10 seconds.
Well, it's posted on Front Porch Forum on Friday night. I think that's enough time.
I know, but that's when the people decide, they're gonna come on Tuesday. They don't think about it. They don't know that we're gonna talk about this until it comes out on Friday night.
But how much more warning to give them?
I don't, I'm
Like
saying
these
this
people
is a
talking about
quandary.
this, big get-together. I mean, the Conservation Commission and the Town Forest Stewardship have been meeting for months.
There's,
They couldn't go to any of those meetings.
Lydia's probably wants
Oh,
to sign
sorry,
it.
I should have signed stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I wanna do something at the last time.
Is it just the one? Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Wait for Jeff.
Okay, Jeff's Club's taking a pause, so
Ah,
they will after this week for a little while.
The warrant, did that make it back? Oh, you got it.
I'm waiting for Jeff to send,
Jeff, can you send the warrant?
then I'll be on my way.
And I will be sending you that language.
I appreciate that. This thing, did this show up email?
Jeff brought it up here.
Okay, can I get a copy of that as well?
You can take,
You can take this one if you want.
I'm gonna take everything.
Oh, where is it?
you take it. That's,
Open. Never mind.